Thanks! You owe me a soda! They stopped making it last. You owe me a Sprite Lemonade Legacy? Didn't I have one? Didn't I have one this year though? Was that this year or was it last year? I feel like I did taste it. Oh! 2 loaves of bread? Yum. Those are like big loaves of bread. It was last year for the 50th celebration of hip-hop. That's a pound cake! Oh, I guess it could be a pound cake, but it looked kind of like bread. Do bread look like... Do bread? Does bread look like pound cake? Pound. Before I streamed today, I was watching an interview with Billie Eilish. I guess. I mean, I guess so. But it's more like in a circle. Honey butter pound cake. Whoa. That's a weird dish. Huh? Wait, this is on Etsy. What? Does she send pound cakes through Etsy? Etsy food? What? Huh? We welcome you to Baker's Therapy. If you have any special requests or needs, this is a 57 Etsy pound cake. I didn't even know Etsy food existed. What? Delectable coconut pie? I mean, I understand candy. That's me. That's me right now. Loading twice. Whoa, look at how pretty these cakes look, though. Etsy is a disaster. Recently I bought this, like, really cute... Thank you for the follow, Gamer of all kinds! Recently I bought... You know, like, those kind of... It's like those really colorful beads, in, like, kind of kid-core type aesthetic. You know, like, they're flowers and, like, pretty circles and like stuff like that. Oh, a leaf, nice. At least their soul gems are top notch. Their soul gems. So I bought I got two keychains and then a little choker necklace, but it took me so long to find that on Etsy. And I'm like, oh, Etsy's gonna be the best place because so many people are gonna be making this kind of bracelet and keychains. Seren! Seren's a good friend of mine. Ooh. Hi, Goku. I just have a bunch of Final Fantasy accessories. But yeah, it took me like not 18 years, but it took me a really long time because all of when I looked up beaded keychains, it was basically just copy-pasted the exact same product a bazillion times. I had to go through like 7 pages until I finally found one kind of similar thing, and then I had to go and like, these items are similar to yours. I go by she, her. What do you go by? Tons of fake shop fronts. It's all, what's it called? Ship dropping? Drop shipping? Sending the soul gem in Discord. Don't attack me? Oh! Wait, who attacked me? I love that guy. Ehem! It's nice to meet you. Would you like me to call you Gamer? Oh, nice rocks. Cool rocks. Duh, duh, duh. Hi, Abby. Nice rocks, Abby. Rock. I'm looking at pound cake sale under $30. Fishing. Sure! If you have a preferred name, then let me know. If not, I will continue to call you Gamer. I've crashed again, twice. Twice in a row. Large gourmet cake jars. I guess you probably couldn't buy these if you were... Oh my god, guys. I'm looking at this pound cake and it looks so dense. A rainbow pound cake. This is the densest. I guess all pound cakes are pretty dense. That's the point of them. Oh my goodness. I mean, I'm kind of appealed because it looks like rainbows. Can you call me the almighty fish king of the carnival? No. Never. Maybe I will one day. So how are you guys today? No, the image in Discord is when you wish to see it. I'm gonna go see it right... Oh, dang it, I don't have Discord open. We don't have Discord open. Where is it? Here it is. Why did I live ping twice? Oh, one was from yesterday? No. I guess I just went live twice? Weird. I'm waiting on tenderize so I can make some stuffed pork loins. Why did Automod block loins? My loins. Whoa, what's that crystal? A soul crystal. A soul crystal? Is it like a real crystal? Etsy would be good with crystals. And probably like succulent seeds, because I was thinking about getting succulent seeds. You don't like pork loins? Oh. Play Skyrim. The original Skyrim? Or the modded Skyrim? Soul gems! Oh, that reminds me of... I don't think they're an Etsy seller. I think they're like just on Instagram. But they sell candy that's shaped as gems and stuff. And it looks so good. Let me look. Candy that looks like rocks. Not that. I used to have them saved, but I don't have them anymore. Soul gems are used to capture souls for enchanting and stuff. Oh, so your soul gem has somebody's soul inside it, is what you're implying. Novelty meds. 1 candy heart as needed. Aww. A mystery grab bag. It's not easy being my wife's arm candy, but here I am, nailing it. Oh, yeah. Like the ones that shape like flowers, too. It has the potential to have one, at least. This black soul gem replica. In game, they're used to capture sapient souls. Ooh. Da, 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 da. Okay, I have to stop looking on food. Food Etsy. A 150-year-old San Francisco sourdough starter. Super active. Dry starter with instructions. Soul gems. Wow, look at this, guys. 150-year-old sourdough starter. starter arrived early, but I have not had a chance to try it yet. After 4 days, my starter was so happy. Have you guys ever thought about having a sourdough starter? It's like having a living thing in your fridge. That you can, like, turn into food if you want. Or if you can. I kind of want to. Actually, I bought a sourdough starter, when I was in Alaska on a trip. And I don't know where it is anymore. Madoka Magica. So fun fact, you know Xbox? I do know Xbox. Does it have a sourdough starter in it? The symbol is based on, like, the X on top of a sourdough bread? Why would they do that? Oh, don't care for sourdough. What if you had a 150-year-old sourdough made from what if you had a sourdough made from a 150-year-old sourdough starter? Maybe that'll taste good. Maybe you've only been having sourdough from shops and they don't use old sourdough starters. They don't use sourdough starters at all. Maybe. The creator was into sourdough? I'm eating history and not bread. That could be tasty. That could be delicious. I think it would get a little scary if you, like, got really close, you know, like, emotionally attached to your sourdough starter that you have in your fridge. And then you have to, like, take part of it off and, like, turn it into a bread. And you're like, I'm eating my child. You know? I feel like that would become me. Hello! To mess. Mystery has a metallic flavor. Either that or it was just the demon core I tasted one time. I think demon cores would be pretty metallic in taste. Well, guys. Yes! Like a snake. Oh, look at the cute emoji you have. So cute. Isn't blood considered a metallic taste? Yes. But actually, did you know it's copper? I used to think that it was an iron taste. But it's a copper taste. Or wait. This is the other way around. Blood is iron, right? Yeah, blood is iron. It's not it's more like you have an iron taste in your mouth. But the copper taste is similar to iron. Oh. Yeah, once I was playing Minecraft and I was like, wait a minute. Like, I like genuinely got confused because I was so used to writing the blood tasted like copper in my mouth. You know, like I bit my lip and my lip tasted of copper. You know, like that kind of writing. And then I was like confused. I was like, wait, isn't there copper in your blood? And then everyone was like, huh? And then I was like, but then it's like the same. But actually, the same is iron. I tasted iron on my tongue. And I was writing it wrong this whole time. And nobody corrected me. But apparently copper tastes similar to iron. So maybe I was right all along, actually. I'm trying to move myself so I'm more comfortable in my little chair. This flavor, exclusively called metallic, is often compared to copper when you taste it in your mouth. It is also the sign of a heart attack. Maybe they're not eating metal, but they're licking it. I learned this recently, but your tongue is so good at knowing textures. If you imagine licking something, you can like imagine the feeling. You know, if you're like, imagine licking the sidewalk, you can like actually like feel what that would feel like. You know? You know what I mean? Like your tongue is so good at like differentiating, distinguishing. It's pretty impressive. If you say, lick some sand, now you know what the sand feels like texture-wise. Person writing the taste profile of uranium-239 on Wikipedia. Okay, guys. So today, despite chatting randomly for 22 minutes, today we're reading more Warrior Cats. We are on the final book of the 3rd series of Warrior Cats. And we only read 2 chapters the last time, but somehow we're on page 100. But also, page 100 is very meager because the PDF that I'm using is really weird this time. And instead of having 350 pages like they normally do, it has 2,100 pages. So it's all kind of mixed and matched it up. We're just kind of like, we're just grasping at straws here on how many pages we have to go. Because a lot of them are like empty pages, especially between chapters. But yeah. Hi, Ash! So previously, we are trying to solve a cat murder. Ashfur has been murdered. They went to Wind Clan to ask if they knew anything. They got offended, thinking that they were accusing Wind Clan of killing Ashfur, and they weren't. And then the deputy was like, hey, I actually saw Soul, that weird cat, wandering around at the border where your dead cat friend was. So yeah. And they're like, oh, cool. And so they went back and they told the clan. And then the clan was like, oh, dang, Soul killed Ashfur. That sucks. And then Hollyleaf was like, actually, I did speak to Soul recently, but I didn't mention it because I didn't think it was important. Then Firestar was like, that would be important. She was like, sorry. And that's all what we really got up to. We're still trying to figure out who killed Ashfur. Lineblaze is going through a little rough patch of knowing that he should feel bad about Ashfur being dead, but actually he's pretty relieved. Yeah. That's it. That's all we got. They're also kind of unsure about their own history because they don't know who their parents are anymore. And so they're kind of paranoid that they may be like rogues and that in the future, if the truth comes out, then they'll be chased out and that'll be sad. Yeah, that's what's happening in the Warrior Cat world. For anyone that's new and wandering about in my chat, or just in my video in general, the way that my reading streams works is that usually I'll try to read through an entire chapter and then I'll talk about it, but then sometimes something dramatic happens within the chapter and I have to react, you know? And usually I'm pretty okay at reading, but when I first start reading, sometimes I forget how to read and I stumble over words a lot. So hopefully after I get warmed up, it'll be better. And yeah, please feel free to do your own work, like chores or homework or drawing. I'm hearing a fly and I'm unsure if it's from here. It's the stream. It's the stream. There's a fly in the... There's a fly in this ambiance. How about we press a different one? No, I don't like how high-pitched that one was. Italy, nature sounds from Garda Lake. It's hard to find like good quality sounds. Old country trail with bird and cattle sounds. Oh my god, a cow! I can hear it! The moo! Oh, it's pretty okay. I like this one. Actually, the cows are pretty loud. Who would put a fly buzzing into ambience? It's supposed to be calming. I think most of the videos that I try to pick are, like it's literally just someone turning on a camera in nature and then the audio of that. Listen to those cows screaming in the background. Moo. Is that too distracting? Maybe. Wow, that looks like a cool potion. Sounds from an English country garden. Oh? I guess you could reuse the bottle. This one's pretty good. Maybe somebody already used it. Maybe it was a pre-used potion. Cheese! Oh, I like how you have a Minecraft badge. Cheese. Alright. This one, I think I like this one. This is a good ambiance. Oh, I heard a bug. Cheese is good. What's your favorite kind of cheese? I'm gonna start reading, so I will judge your cheese in a bit. Chapter 3. Jayfeather sat still while the rest of the clan swirled around him, buzzing with tension and excitement. I'm scared. Jayfeather recognized Bumblecut's voice close by. What if Soul comes into the camp and gets us? Jayfeather heard the rasp of a tongue and pictured Millie giving her son a comforting lick. Soul is far away, little one, she murmured. And there are big, strong warriors here to guard us, Daisy added. Do you think that your father would let any cat lay a claw on you? Bumblecut's tone brightened. No, Graystripe is the best. Jayfeather wished he could be reassured as easily as the kit. He knew bad times were coming. Fear, suspicion, and accusations crushed over him from all sides, as if his clanmates were hurling rocks at him. He felt sick and dizzy, and the ground under his paws didn't seem solid anymore. Beside him, he heard Mousefur heaving herself to her paws with a gusty sigh. If Ashfur's killer meant to stir up trouble, mission accomplished. That cat has stuck its nose into a nest of bees by taking one of our warriors. Thank you for the follow! And that cat will get stung. But Jayfeather didn't want to think about what might happen to Ashfur's murderer. He picked out Lion Blaze from the mingled scents of ThunderClan cats, but his brother didn't slow down as he pattered past. So, you're gonna go find Saul, Jayfeather called to him. Lion Blaze halted. Yes. Jayfeather was desperate to talk to his brother as they always did, easily, with nothing left unspoken. But the secret they had shared since the night of the storm made it impossible. The awkward silence was broken by Hollyleaf, padding up to them. You never told us you'd seen Soul, Jayfeather meowed. He could imagine his sister's shrug. It didn't matter then. Even so, you should have said something. Lion Blaze sounded upset. You know Soul was supposed to help us with the prophecy. What prophecy? Hollyleaf snapped. There isn't a prophecy as far as we're concerned. You didn't know that when you saw Soul. Jayfeather winced as he listened to them bicker. There was no point to their argument, except that it stopped them from discussing the only thing that mattered, whether any of them believed that Soul had killed Ashfur. I'm glad I'm not going, he told himself. I don't want to listen to them all the way to the Sundrown place and back. Leafpool's voice cut across his thoughts. Jayfeather, there you are. I want you to come help me prepare herbs for the patrol. Okay, coming. He rose to his paws and followed his mentor back to the medicine cat's den, leaving Hollyleaf and Lineblaze to their squabbling. As soon as he brushed past the bramble screen, his mouth filled with the scent of traveling herbs. I've laid everything out, Leafpool told him. We just have to make them into leaf wraps. It was a relief to have something to distract him, but the task was soon done, and he emerged into the clearing again with the leaf wrap for Brambleclaw clamped between his jaws. By now the excitement over the patrol was beginning to die down, and the cats were returning to their dens. Distinguishing Brambleclaw's scent from the tang of herbs he carried was difficult, but Jayfeather finally located him with Squirrelflight near the fresh kill pile. I wish you were coming with us, Brambleclaw was mewing to his mate as Jayfeather padded up. We have so many good memories from that journey. Jayfeather caught the wistful note in his voice. It was as if the clan deputy was looking back to a good time that was over and regretted everything that had gone wrong since. I wonder if he knows how wrong. I wish I was coming too, Squirrelflight replied, her voice subdued, but I'm probably not fit enough for a long journey after the wound I took in the battle. There's no need to worry about Soul, you know, Brambleclaw reassured her. I'll keep you safe. I know, Squirrelflight sighed. Jayfeather's pelt prickled. Squirrelflight had never needed another cat to keep her safe. Once she would have clawed the ears off of any cat who suggested it, but now she sounded broken. Waves of guilt and longing were coming from her, so strongly that Jayfeather almost felt sorry for her. He brushed past her and set the wrap of herbs down at Brambleclaw's paws. Here, he announced. Traveling herbs. Eat them all and get plenty of rest before tomorrow. Thanks, Jayfeather. Hey, Brambleclaw! Graystripe's voice came from across the clearing. Jayfeather heard his paw steps as he bounded up. Five-Star wants me to act as deputy while you're away. Can I have a word with you about border patrols? Sure. Brambleclaw gulped the herbs down quickly. What do you want to know? Well, I think a few cats are still worried about WindClan. The voices of the two Toms faded as they padded across the clearing. Jayfeather had turned back towards his den when Squirrelflight intercepted him. Jayfeather, I want to talk to you. There's nothing left to say, Jayfeather snapped, and I don't want to hear anything you might have to tell me. He veered around the cat he had thought was his mother and headed towards his den. He felt hollow, as if a vast emptiness had opened up inside him. For so long he had depended on the prophecy to tell him who he was and what his destiny would be. Without it, was he going to be just a medicine cat for the rest of his life? And where's the cat who gave birth to us? What happened to her? Jayfeather hated the feeling that he wasn't in control anymore. Unsettled, he blundered into the brambles that screened the medicine cat's den. His paws tangled in the long tendril. Thorns raked through his pelt and scratched his nose. He let out a startled yowl. Jayfeather! Leafpool was instantly by his side. Keep still, I'll get you out. I'm fine, Jayfeather growled. He'd never made a mistake like that, not even when he was a kid. He tugged himself free of the brambles and felt a clump of fur tear out as he scrambled into the den. Are you all right? Leafpool's voice was anxious. Your nose is bleeding. I'll get you some cobweb. I said I'm fine. Jayfeather chugged her away, giving one paw a swift lick and swiping it over his nose. The scratch stung, but he couldn't stand being fussed over. Why can't she leave me alone? He thought angrily as he stalked towards the store to get more herbs. She doesn't have to worry about me. We're not even kin. When he had delivered all the traveling herbs, Jayfeather found a few moments to snatch prey from the fresh kill pile. As he gulped down his bowl, he heard Berrynose' raised voice a couple of tail lengths away. Well, I don't trust Shadow Clan. After all the trouble with Soul, Blackstar would do anything to prove his clan is still strong. Dustpelt's annoyed hiss followed immediately.
Are you mouse-brained? Are you actually suggesting a Shadow Clan warrior trekked all the way across our territory to kill Ashfur?
It could happen, Burrnose mumbled.
And hedgehogs could fly, Dustpelt retorted scathingly.
Swallowing the last of his prey and swiping his tongue around his jaws, Jayfeather headed back to the den. I'm sick of cats wondering who killed Ashfur. But when he took Tansy to Millie and Briarkit, who were recovering from green cough, he couldn't help overhearing Cloudtail, Brightheart, and Daisy sitting close to the nursery entrance.
Don't worry about a thing, Daisy, Cloudtail assured the cream-colored she-cat. Some of the warriors are leaving, but there are plenty of us left to protect you and the kids.
Graystripe said we can double the guard on the camp, Brightheart added. I know you all help. Daisy still sounded worried. But is it right to bring that murderous cat back here? Jayfeather didn't want to listen to yet another discussion about soul. Pushing his way through the brambles into the nursery, he found the kits squirming like ants whose nests had been disturbed. Now you be the killer, Rose-Kit squealed, batting Blossom-Kit on the ear with one paw, and we'll all come and catch you. Blossom-Kit let out a screech of excitement. Jayfeather almost tripped over the other kits as they bundled on top of her in a withering heap. Stop that right now. Millie's voice was shocked. It isn't fun. A brave ThunderClan warrior is dead.
Ashfur never was this important when he was alive, Jayfeather thought.
The kits calmed down a little as Jayfeather set down the tansy and left. On his way back to his den, he passed Firestar and Sandstorm, Graystripe, and Brakenfur.
We can't assume the problems are over, Sandstorm was meowing. If I were you, Firestar, I'd warn all the cats to stay away from the WindClan border, except for patrols.
Right, Graystripe agreed. We don't want to find another warrior dead in the stream. Jayfeather stifled a sigh. What's the point of patrols and guards? The killer is here. A night breeze had sprung up when Jayfeather padded over to the fresh kill pile where Lineblaze and Hollyleaf were eating with the rest of the Soul Patrol. Soul Patrol. Earlier in the day, he hadn't known what to say to them, and it was no better now. Hi, he meowed. Ready for tomorrow? As ready as we'll ever be, Hollyleaf replied. It's weird, going without you. Lineblaze brushed his muzzle against Jayfeather's shoulder. This will be the first time we've ever been separated. Jayfeather nodded. He had even managed a long journey to visit the tribe in the mountains, but this time he had to stay behind. In spite of his earlier impatience with his littermates, it felt wrong to be split from them, especially when he knew that the tendrils of the secret that bound them together could not be broken by any distance. Well, I guess it's goodbye, he muttered. I guess, Lineblaze meowed. Jayfeather touched his nose to his brother's, and then to Hollyleaf's. Bye, Jayfeather, she murmured. There ought to be more to say, Jayfeather knew, but tension quivered among the three of them like the strands of a spider's web. In the end, he ducked his head and mumbled, May StarClan light your path, and headed back to the Medicine Cat's den. Jayfeather opened his eyes to see bleak rocks stretching to either side of him, and a plunging precipice just in front of his paws. Startled, he leaped back. Wind swept across the mountain top, ruffling his fur. As he recovered from the first shock of finding himself here, he recognized the place where he had met Midnight the Badger. Looking up, Jayfeather saw the stars whirling around the sky, so fast that they became blurred trails of light. He tried to dig his claws into the thin soil where he stood, terrified of falling upwards into the gaping emptiness. Then he heard the scraps of rock, claws on rock. Wrenching his gaze from the swirling stars, he whipped around to see the bulky body of the white-striped head of Midnight. What do you want? He demanded, trying not to sound as scared as he felt. Soul not kill Ashfur, Midnight rumbled. This you know. These cats chasing wild geese. She lumbered closer to Jayfeather, starlight glittering in her small black eyes. Truth must come out. Why? This time Jayfeather couldn't stop his voice from quivering. Midnight's words felt like stones into a deep pool. Anything else will destroy your clan forever. But
Jay Feather began to protest, but the wind rose, whipping away Midnight's words and his own, and the badger's looming form, until he felt that he and Midnight and the stars themselves were being swept into a vast whirlpool. He seemed to hit the ground with a jolt, and opened his eyes in the darkness of his own den. The air bore the scent of frost, and Jay Feather guessed that dawn was near. Leafpool was shifting around in the break-in of her nest close by. "Is it time for the patrol to leave?" she meowed. "Oh, it's time for the patrol to leave," she meowed. "Do you want to come and say goodbye?" Jay Feather had said his farewells the night before, but he scrambled out of his nest and followed his mentor into the clearing. Most of the Soul Patrol were bunched together near the opening of the Thorn Tunnel, along with Firestar, Graystripe, and Squirrelflight. A fox length or so away, Jay Feather located Birchfall and Whitewing. Their mingled scents told him they were pressed close together. "You take care of yourself and get plenty of rest," Birchfall told his mate. Eat lots of fresh kill, and tell Leafpool if you feel anything." "Shh," Whitewing murmured lovingly. "I'll be fine. I'm not the only cat who ever gave birth." Jay Feather padded past them and found himself close to Squirrelflight, who was saying goodbye to Brambleclaw. Unlike Whitewing, she was keeping her emotions firmly under control. Jay Feather couldn't tell what she was feeling. "Be careful at the Sundrown place," she warned the ThunderClan deputy. "Don't get too close to the edge of the cliffs. They might give way again." "I know. I don't want to go for another swim." Brambleclaw was trying to sound cheerful, but Jay Feather could tell that it was forced. "Brambleclaw, just remind me about the hunting patrols." Graystripe broke in. The best places are by the old two-leg nest near the dead tree, right?" "Right," Brambleclaw replied. "Make sure the patrols remember that if they're hunting by the dead tree, they've got to be careful not to cross the ShadowClan border." You'll be fine, Graystripe," Firestar assured the Grey Warrior. "You know the territory well enough by now." The cats who were staying behind edged backwards as the patrol got ready to leave. A solemn silence spread over them. Jay Feather was aware of a sudden heightening of tension. No cat had ever set out on an expedition like this before. "May StarClan light your path," Firestar meowed. "You are going to find the truth." "No, the truth is here." Jay Feather clamped his jaws shut so that he didn't yowl out loud. Midnight had told him what he already knew. Soul did not kill Ashfur. The patrol was headed towards danger for nothing. Why couldn't his clanmates see that they had to look among themselves to find the truth? He wondered whether they would find Soul and what would happen if they did. His paws tingled as he thought about what Soul could tell them. He knows about the prophecy. "Jay Feather, why don't you just say something?" "Bruh." He knows in every part of him. Even Midnight herself told him that it wasn't Soul that killed Ashfur, and he still lets them go? Why? What's the purpose? Jay Feather's zero Riz. Jay Feather doesn't want Riz. Jay Feather is anti-Riz. Oh, I just saw the in-game rock comparison. Nice. All right. Jay Feather has this cute cat licking his scratches and he's leaving. "Leave me to my books!" Actual turbo note. That's like his mom's. I guess she's not her mom. I was gonna say that's his aunt, but not his aunt because Squirrelflight's not his mom. But he's looked at her as his aunt his whole life, so why would he do anything? Chapter 4. Right. I wonder how far they're gonna get because I feel like they don't make it very far, in my memory at least. Frost lay thick on the ground as Brambleclaw's patrol headed through the forest towards the lake. The cats trotted in silence through the silver bracken, their breath clouding around their muzzles. Above Hollyleaf's head, the sky was lightening to a pale dove gray.
Hollyleaf felt as though her paws would freeze to the ground at every step. Icy claws seemed to rake through her fur. The bitter cold numbed the tips of her ears. She felt lightheaded. Ever since Squirrelflight's revolution, she had found it hard to choke down even the smallest piece of fresh kill. All that kept her going was a burning need to find out what Soul knew. Lionblaze trotted alongside her, grim-faced and strong, his amber gaze fixed on the forest ahead. His presence comforted Hollyleaf, though she felt Jayfeather's absence like a stab of a thorn. Maybe it's best he stayed behind, she thought. It's not like he can look for Soul himself. He can smell him! Lionblaze trotted alongside her. Oh, I already read that. Brambleclaw led the way to the stream. They followed it downhill until they reached the edge of the lake, where the water was still and shallow, with a delicate covering of ice. Are we mouse-brained to set out on a long journey in Leafbear? Yeah. But in spite of the cold, tension within the patrol ebbed as they headed along the shore on the edge of WindClan territory. Hazeltail dropped back to pad alongside Hollyleaf, her eyes shining. Isn't this great? She gave a little bounce, like an excited kit. We're going somewhere no cats have been before. Actually, they have. Actually? Hollyleaf pointed out, not wanting to listen to Hazeltail's chatter. Brambleclaw and Squirrelflight went to the Sundawn place with the other cats chosen by StarClan. That must have been so exciting, Hazeltail sighed. Your mother and father have traveled further than any cats ever. They're so adventurous. No, they're just liars, Hollyleaf thought bitterly. There was no sign of any WindClan cats as they skirted the territory, but as they approached the horse place, Hollyleaf began to pick up a strong WindClan scent. Brambleclaw halted, raising his tail to tell his patrol to do the same. He stood with head raised, his jaws parted to taste the air. Aware of the pelts bristling around her, Hollyleaf realized how jumpy they all were. They weren't doing anything to break the warrior code by keeping close to the edge of the lake, but a single whiff of WindClan scent had them all unsheathing their claws. Ashfur's death has done this to us. Why should there be any trouble? Hazeltail asked, puzzled. We're allowed to walk beside the lake, aren't we? Before Hollyleaf could respond, a gray she-cat appeared. At the top of the bank and patted down towards the patrol. Ashfoot, Brambleclaw greeted. Oh, Brambleclaw relaxed. Greetings. Greetings, Brambleclaw. The WindClan deputy dipped her head as she reached the group of ThunderClan cats. I wondered if you would go looking for Soul. Is this why you're here? Or that is why you're here, isn't it? Brambleclaw nodded. Whether or not he killed Ashfur, he has questions to answer. Then I've something to show you. Ashfoot meowed. Follow me. She led the way along the edge of the lake until they reached the two-leg fence around the horse place. The mesh shone like a huge cobweb in the strengthening daylight. There. Ashfur flicked her ears towards a rough place on the marsh where a long, silky strand of reddish fur was caught. Brambleclaw padded up to it and sniffed it, then turned to the patrol with amber eyes wide. Soul! Hollyleaf's heart pounded harder in her chest. The evidence of Soul's presence brought his memory back to her more strongly than ever. He had seemed to know so much, and had prophesied so much, and yet he had turned out to be a traitor. Then he went this way, Brakenfur exclaimed, his eyes gleaming. We're on the right track. The scent's stale, Brambleclaw warned, but not that old. Soul certainly passed this place not many sunrises ago. Ashfoot took a pace back towards her own territory. Good luck then, and good luck. Wait, goodbye then, and good luck. Thanks, Ashfoot, Brambleclaw responded. You've helped us a lot. What made you do it? Ashfoot twitched her ears. I want my old clan to be safe. Soul must be dealt with before he causes more trouble. Without waiting for a reply, she padded back up the bank and disappeared over the shoulder of the hill. Or else she wants us to stop blaming WindClan, Richfall muttered as soon as she was out of earshot. That may be, Brambleclaw mewed. But we don't need to bother about that now. All of you, get a good sniff of this fur and fix the scent in your minds. Then we can be on our way.
Sliding under the two-leg fence, he led the way across the field. The ground was hard as stone, and the grass crunched underneath their paws. Their route led them close to the wooden horse nests. Hollyleaf felt her neck fur begin to bristle as she caught the scents of Two-Leg and Dog, but nothing moved and there was no sound. She expected Brambleclaw to pass by quickly, but instead he halted at the entrance to the horse nest.
"Why are we stopping?"
she asked. "We won't stay long," Brambleclaw replied, "but there are some cats here I want Hazeltail to meet."
"Hello,"
he called softly through the opening. Hazeltail looked up, puzzled, but before she could speak, two cats appeared from the shadows. In the lead was a muscular gray and white Tom, with a smaller, pale she-cat just behind him.
"Brambleclaw!"
The Tom sounded surprised but welcoming. "What are you doing here? And all these others? I hope there's no trouble in your clan."
"Nothing you need to worry about," Brambleclaw replied.
"Who are they?" Hollyleaf whispered in Lionblaze's ear. Lionblaze shrugged. "No idea." "Smoky? Floss?" Brambleclaw went on. "This is Hazeltail, Daisy's daughter." He twitched his ears to draw Hazeltail to his side, in front of the stable cats. "Hazeltail, this is Smoky, your father." Hazeltail's eyes widened in astonishment. "Daisy brought us here when we were kids! Father!" She rushed forward and rubbed her muzzle against Smoky's chin. Purring loudly, Smoky bent his head and gave her a lick around the ears.
"I've missed you all," he murmured.
With a touch of his tail on her shoulder, he urged the small she-cat forward. "Do you remember Floss?" he prompted Hazeltail. "She helped Daisy look after you when you were first born." Hazeltail looked uncertain. "I don't remember that," she mewed, dipping her head to Floss. "But I do remember seeing you here when Daisy brought us back."
"How's Daisy?" Smoky asked Brambleclaw, "and the other kids, Berry and Mouse?"
"They're all fine," Hazeltail assured him, her eyes sparkling. "They're Berrynose and Mouse Whisker now. They're all warriors of ThunderClan. Berrynose lost his tail in a fox trap."
Floss interrupted with a gasp. "Was he badly hurt?"
"No, not too badly," Hazeltail replied. "Leafpool, she's our medicine cat, looked after him. He's a strong warrior now, and so is Mouse Whisker."
"And Daisy?"
There was a shadow of sadness in Smoky's eyes as he looked to Brambleclaw for an answer.
"Is she happy in the clan? She was so scared. That time she brought her kits back here after the badger attack."
Brambleclaw nodded. "She has found her place. She will never be a warrior, but she is a true cat of ThunderClan."
"She has 2 more kits!" Hazeltail broke in. "Rose-Kit and Toad-Kit. They're so cute."
"I can see she has moved on," Smoky murmured.
Then he gave his pelt a shake, as if dismissing the memories.
"So you're a warrior now," he meowed to his daughter. "Show me what you've learned."
"Okay."
Hazeltail dropped into the hunter's crouch and began to glide forward.
"Now, I'm stalking a mouse," she explained. "You have to set your paws down as light as clouds, because the mouse will feel the vibrations to the earth. And when you're ready," she paused, waggling her rump, "you pounce." She leaped into the air and landed with her front paws gripping the tip of Birchfall's tail. Birchfall jumped a tail length off the ground. "Hey, that hurt!" Hazeltail's eyes gleamed. "Attack me then!" Hollyleaf watched as Birchfall sprang for Hazeltail. She dodged to one side and fetched him a blow across the shoulder with her claws sheathed. Birchfall whipped around and leaped on top of her with a screech. The 2 young cats wrestled together on the ground.
"We were like that once," Hollyleaf thought. "Not a care in the world." Hollyleaf, "I remember the days when life was easy." Seeing the pride in Smoky's eyes, she felt a wave of jealousy sweep over her. Could my father be proud of me? She wondered. Does he even know I exist?
"I'm impressed,"
Smoky meowed, as Hazeltail and Birchfall broke apart and sat up, shaking scraps of earth and debris out of their fur.
"ThunderClan certainly teaches cats to look after themselves."
Floss stepped forward, looking shy but friendly.
"Would you like to stay with us for the rest of the day?"
"Good idea."
Smoky stepped back and waved his tail towards the inside of the horse nest.
"It's warm in here, and there are plenty of mice if you're hungry."
"Thanks, but no," Brambleclaw replied. "We have to keep going."
"We're on the trail of a killer,"
Hazeltail added. Floss and Smoky exchanged an alarmed glance, their neck fur beginning to fluff up.
"What?"
Who did they kill?
Floss asked nervously. It's a long story. Brickenford patted up, giving Smokey a calming touch on the shoulder with the tip of his tail. And you don't need to be frightened about anything. We just need to speak to a cat who may have seen what happened. Smokey relaxed, the fur on his neck and shoulders beginning to lie flat again. What cat is this? He asked. A brown and white tabby Tom, Brambleclaw replied, with very long fur and pale yellow eyes. Floss caught her breath. I saw a cat just like that. He was headed across the field very early, a couple of sunrises ago. Then we're hard on his paws, Brambleclaw purred. Let's go. Hazeltail patted up to her father and touched noses with him.
Goodbye, she mewed. I'll come to see you on the way back.
Come any time, Smokey told her. Hollyleaf could see how sad he was to let his daughter go so soon.
I will,
Hazeltail promised.
As they headed across the field, following in Sol's paw steps, Birchfall veered to pad beside Hollyleaf.
It must be weird to be half-clan, he murmured, too quietly for Hazeltail to hear him. Imagine never seeing your kin. Hollyleaf didn't reply.
It's better than when I am, she thought bleakly. I'm a nothing clan.
Chapter 5. This PDF is so weird. I finished a chapter and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 empty pages between when the next chapter begins.
Toadkit is my favorite kid.
I hope we learn more about Toadkit. I hate that reading makes my nose so itchy.
It's like I'm talking during the day, so why isn't my nose itchy during the day? Why does it have to be itchy specifically when I'm reading? Is it all my voices? I wonder what Toadkit's warrior name would be. Toadblaze! He can't be Toad... I guess he could be Toadblaze, because cats have the same last part of their name. I don't know. I can't remember. I guess it's probably because I stopped reading after the next book. So, I don't know how old he would have been. Probably an apprentice. Or maybe like just a new warrior? I don't know. I guess we'll learn.
As the patrol crossed the next field, snow began to fall in soft feathery flakes that melted as soon as they touched the ground. Lionblaze sneezed as one landed upon his nose. At the opposite side of the field, they came to a wide stretch of whitish stone, with huge red nests at one side. The snow was heavier by now, and a wind had risen, whipping the flakes across the open expanse as they ventured into the hard surface. Lionblaze padded along beside Hollyleaf, trying to protect her from the worst of the wind. Suddenly, a loud snorting sound came from one of the nests. Terror gripped Lionblaze's limbs as he leaped forward, racing across the stone with the snow brushing his belly fur. Hollyleaf hurled beside him, with Hazeltail on his shoulder. The sound came again, followed by a yowl from Brackenfur.
It's okay. It's only horses.
Only horses? Lionblaze's flying paws propelled him onward as he imagined the gigantic creatures with their heavy feet that could break a cat's spine with one blow. A two-legged gate loomed up out of the swirling snow. He wriggled underneath it and bunched his muscles to leap forward again. Hollyleaf and Hazeltail were just behind him.
No!
Brambleclaw screeched, Stop! Thunderpath! Lionblaze slammed to a halt as yellow beams sliced through the flurries of snow. A monster with glaring eyes swept past, buffeting Lionblaze's fur and soaking his paws with a wave of dirty snowmelt. He and his clanmates shrank back. Lionblaze's heart was pounding with fear as he waited for Birchfall, Brackenfur, and Brambleclaw to join them. You call yourselves warriors? Brambleclaw's voice was scathing. That was pure panic. The horses were inside their nest. There was no danger until you decided to hurl yourself into the path of a monster. Sorry, Lionblaze muttered. Shearing shame swept over him, hot as a forest fire. Brambleclaw's harsh words stung all the more painfully because he knew the deputy was right. They had acted like apprentices on their first venture out of the camp. Hazeltail's head was hanging in shame, and Hollyleaf had turned away, lifting each paw to turn to shake the dirt water off her fur. Lionblaze knew how much it meant to her to uphold the warrior code. She must be furious with herself for being spooked like that. "And what about you?" he demanded silently. "The bravest warrior in ThunderClan, scared of a horse that isn't even loose?" Brambleclaw let out a long sigh and relaxed. "All right, let's see about getting across here." Lionblaze heard the roar of another monster, and the clan deputy padded forward cautiously to the edge of the thunder path. The gleaming creature leapt past in a blaze of light. From the other direction, an even bigger monster came barreling along with a throaty growl, its round black paws as big as boulders. "How are we ever going to cross? We'll be squashed flat." He could see that Hazeltail and Hollyleaf were still scared, their fur on end and their eyes wide with alarm. He knew he must look just the same. He braced himself to force his paws to carry him across the hard, black surface of the thunder path. "Come up here beside me," Brambleclaw directed them calmly. "We'll cross one at a time. Breakenfur, you can go first, to show them how it's done." Breakenfur twitched his ears in acknowledgement. "It's not so bad," he told the younger cats kindly. The thunder path in the old forest was much bigger than this." Birchfall's fur bristled. "Then I'm glad we don't live there anymore." Breakenfur padded up beside Brambleclaw and waited for another monster to sweep past. Its roar died away in the distance. "Okay, go," mewed Brambleclaw. Breakenfur leapt forward, his golden brown pelt almost vanishing in the swirling snow. When he reached the other side, everything was still quiet. "Hollyleaf, go!" Taking a gulp of air, Hollyleaf hurled herself across the thunder path. Lineblaze dug his claws into the ground, trying to stop himself from shaking, until he saw her reach Breakenfur's side safely. The growl of another monster approaching through the snow. The growling of another monster was approaching through the snow. Lineblaze flinched back as it came into sight. A huge creature in glaring colors. His heart raced even faster as he saw several two legs in its belly as it flashed past them. Did it eat them? Will it eat us? Lineblaze, you go now. Summoning all his courage, Lineblaze stepped up beside Brambleclaw and launched himself forward. For a few heartbeats, his world was full of the choking stink of the monsters that had just passed, and the black stuff scraped his pads as he raced across. Then he was standing on a narrow strip of grass between the thunder path and a prickly hedge, and Hollyleaf was pressing her pelt against his. Wow, I don't know what that is. "We did it," she murmured. "You know, Birchfall is right," Lineblaze whispered back as his heartbeat gradually calmed. "If the old Thunderpath was worse than this, I wouldn't want to live near it either." A moment later, Hazeltail joined them, and then Birchfall. A stream of monsters followed, leaving Brambleclaw marooned on the other side. Finally, the last of the monsters disappeared. The Lineblaze could still hear their roaring in the air. Brambleclaw bounded onto the thunder path, racing for the other side. Another monster appeared in the distance, and Birchfall screeched, "Look out!" The clan deputy didn't break stride. Long before the monster swept past, he was safely across, among his clanmates. "See? Nothing to it." He flicked his ear dismissively. "Now, let's keep going." Sneef, sneef, sneef. Nostril, why is my nose so itchy today? Please tell me. All-knowing nose? All-nosing nose? Like knowing, but your nose. Ow! The wet leaves and debris on the branches of the hedge plastered themselves to Lineblaze's belly fur as he flattened himself to a crawl into the next field. A strong scent flooded over him as he struggled to his paws on the other side. He felt as though he ought to remember it, but the memory slipped away from him like an elusive piece of prey. "What are those?" Hazeltail asked nervously, angling her ears towards the center of the field. Lineblaze peered through the snowflakes. Ahead of them, clustered together in small groups, were several huge animals with black and white pelts. As he examined them, one of them raised its head and let out a mournful sound. My gosh, the other video that we were listening to would have been really good.
No, more like no-nos. What? Look, I have a nose. Look.
Oops, sorry, my glasses got really big there.
Look. See that? That dot? That single dot? They're on the bridge of my nose. Like that.
Oops. That was my nose.
I'm glad you guys could. Yeah. Appreciate it. Cows! Hollyleaf exclaimed, coming to stand beside her brother. You remember Lion Blaze? We saw them on the way to the mountains.
Cows, of course.
Lion Blaze's mind flew back to the time when they had encountered the old loner, Purdy. He had shown the cows to them as they passed a farm. His mother, no, Squirrelflight, had told them the massive creatures weren't dangerous, provided they didn't step on you. The cows are okay, Brambleclaw reassured Hazeltail as he emerged from the hedge. They won't attack us. Hazeltail gave him a doubtful look. And as Breakenford took the lead across the field, Lionblaze was inclined to share her concern. The cows gathered around them, gazing down at them with huge liquid eyes. Lionblaze was far closer to their stony feet than he wanted to be, and he didn't like the looks of the big curved claws sticking out of their heads. Fighting techniques wouldn't be much use against animals this size. The cows bent down and sniffed at the cat's fur with hot, wet breath. Lionblaze thought he was going to choke on the strong reek of their scent, and their doleful moaning almost deafened him. As Breakenford led them calmly through the forest of the legs, one of the long, swishing tails gave Hollyleaf a stinging slap in the face. She leapt backwards, cannoning into Lionblaze. "Fox done!" she snapped. Lionblaze steadied her until she got her balance. "I'm starting to wonder if this is such a great adventure," she muttered, with a glance to Hazeltail, who nodded vigorously in agreement. "The journey to the mountains was much easier than this, even with the dogs in the barn." And there was some point to that journey. Lionblaze added silently, "We weren't just looking for a cat I know isn't a murderer." Leaving the cows behind, the cats trekked through the snow towards the other side of the field. Lionblaze tasted the air for soul scent, but he couldn't pick up a trace of it. "I can't smell anything except cow," he grumbled silently. "I can barely find my own clanmates." To his relief, he soon made out the next hedge, looming black against the swirling snow. The patrol padded up to it and halted in the shelter of the thickly packed thorns. "I'll never get through there," Birchfall exclaimed, his eyes wide with dismay. "We'll be ripped to pieces." "No, we won't," Brambleclaw mewed. We just need to look for a place where the hedge is thinner." He began to lead the way along the bottom of the hedge. "I hope we don't have to go back," Lionblaze thought miserably, trying to shake the snow off his pelt. His heart felt even further when he made out the roar of another thunderpath somewhere on the other side of the hedge. "Not again," he muttered. At last Brambleclaw halted. "This might do." He pointed with his muzzle at a spot in the hedge where two arching branches gave a tiny gap between them. "Lionblaze, will you give it a try?" Lionblaze nodded and stepped forward, testing the width of the gap with his whiskers. Then he flattened himself to the ground and dragged himself forward. Thorns raked across his back, and he felt his fur snag on them as he struggled through the other side and scrambled to his paws. "Dankachi!" "Hi, Dad! How was your stream?" "You were streaming for a long time. What the heck?" "Friday night, fuck it." "Done for the night. Woohoo!" "Is that your new, what's it called? raid message. Hi, Juice. Were you enjoying a nice Dankachi stream? I was there at the very beginning when he was fighting Sonic the Hedgehog, and then I fell asleep. Guys, go follow Dan. Although I know everybody here is already following Dan, so. Raid was good. I was playing Friday Nights at Freddy's, right? I'm joking. I know it was Friday Funkin' Funk. Friday Night Funkin'. Yeah. There were some sweet tunes when I popped in earlier. I've never played Friday Night Funkin'. Like just the normal one. It looked difficult, like rhythm game wise. Nah, it's Friday Night's Freddy. Ah, yes. I forgot that game existed. I know Freddy Fridays at his places are Fridays at his places are crazy. It's fun. I should definitely play it. As I should many other games. But I for sure will play that game. It's one of those games that I know is on my list of eventually playing. For real. For real. Anyways, we're in the middle of a chapter. Guys who came from Dun's stream, it is Warrior Cat Wednesdays, in which I read Warrior Cats. We're currently on the very last book of the 3rd series of Warrior Cats. And yeah. If you want to hunker down, get some chores done, do some other stuff while I'm reading in the background, please feel free. I have mods you play, but some can get a bit spooky. Has anyone died recently? if you didn't get the context, that wasn't like in a context of anything. That's so funny. Yes, actually, Ashfur was murdered. At the end of the last book, Ashfur was murdered. He was found dead, and nobody knows who killed him. So now they're trying to find who's killed him. It's a murder mystery. They're hunting down that creepy cat soul because they think that he might have killed him or seen what happened. Yeah, there's been a murder. Wasn't he the one floating in the river? He was! What does it feel like to die? I don't remember where he died. It was in a river. You got it right. Yeah! So they're currently on a patrol to try and find Soul, the like Messiah cat, to see if he knows anything. Or see if he killed Ashfur for some reason. My nose is so itchy today, so if my model moves around crazy like this, because I'm itching my nose violently. Alright. I don't know what the heck is going on right now. I think they just went through a something. Oh! Paige! Hello! Oh my gosh, there's no longer a countdown for the messages? Hi, Paige! You were playing Genshin! Let me read your lovely poem for you. In the land of streams with chill and grand lives Paige, with a wand in hand, a witch who games with gremlin glee and VTubes with pride for all to see. From Genshin's heights to Fall Guys fall, they play with friends and troubles wash away. With music beats and collabs so bright, all the streams will watch both day and night. So come one, come all to Paige's show, where gaming and laughter and harmony's flow. Yay! Thank you! Thank you for the raid! Hello everybody who joined me today. I'm reading Warrior Cats. Normally I play games. I haven't been playing games for a little bit because I've been rigging a lot. But today is Warrior Cat Wednesday, and I read Warrior Cats. And the book right here that you see is what I'm reading today. So if you want to chill, please free to chill while I read. At least there's no pillaging. Yeah, that's true. Anyway, we're at the same group in Lear's Fall Guys tournament. I guessed so. Yeah. Classic. I thought so when I read the Fall Guys in your little stream summary poem. I'm pretty sure I followed everybody that linked their channel. Aha, I am following you. Huzzah! Yet. Wait. I feel like someone... Gotta go now, though. Yeah! Took way too much time. Understandable. Have a great rest of your day, Peach. Thank you again for the raid. There was one thing I was about to say. Oh, Ash. Cats having 9 lives sounds super bothersome. Only the clan leaders have 9 lives. They get granted 9 lives to lead their clan. The other cats don't get 9 lives. Hi, I'm Snigglefritz, and welcome to No Nose Carnival. So true, Snigglefritz. Alright, let's continue. I think they're trying to get through a hedge or something. It's okay, he called. As Hollyleaf and Birchfall followed, Lineblaze looked out over a vast white landscape. The ground sloped gently down to the thunder path he had heard. It was much wider than the first one, with monsters roaring up and down in both directions. Glaring two-leg lights edged it on both sides. We'll never get across that, he thought despairingly. A startled yowl distracted him. Spinning around, he saw Hazeltail emerging from the hedge and pawing frantically at her muzzle. I've got a thorn in my nose, she wailed. Let me see. Hollyleaf padded up to her. Keep still and stop clawing at it. Hazeltail sat down, her eyes filled with pain. The thorn was a huge one, firmly embedded in her nose. Bright blood welled out around it. Lineblaze watched his sister using the medicine cat skills she had learned long ago from Leafpool. Hollyleaf flicked the area around the thorn and got a good grip on it with her teeth. Pulling it firmly, she drew out the thorn and spat it onto the ground. More blood gushed out of Hazeltail's nose and splashed onto the snow. Ouch! Hazeltail protested. We really need some water to rinse the blood away and close the wound, Hollyleaf meowed. Wasn't Hollyleaf really scared? Or really grossed out by medicine cat stuff like that? Imagine having to live 9 times. Isn't that bothersome? Just let them die? No, they have to protect their clan, Ash. That's their job. To protect them. Lineblaze glanced around, ready to fetch some for her, but there was no sign of any streams. Press your muzzle into the snow, Hollyleaf instructed Hazeltail. That'll stop the bleeding. Blinking doubtfully, Hazeltail dipped her head and buried her nose in a patch of clean white snow. It's very cold, came a muffled meow. Stay there a bit longer, Hollyleaf urged. I promise it'll help. I hope it will, Lineblaze thought, or Hollyleaf could just be freezing Hazeltail's nose off. He could see how worried his sister looked as she watched her clanmate. Hazeltail kept her face pressed into the snow for several long moments, then lifted her head. Clumps of white clung to her face, making her look as if she were turning into Cloudtail, with his long, snow-colored pelt. It doesn't hurt so much anymore, she reported through chattering teeth. Hollyleaf bent forward to inspect the wound left by the thorn. Carefully, she brushed the snow away with her paw. The injury looked like a neat, clean hole, almost sealed up already. I think that did the trick, she meowed. Well done. Bramaclaw's rumbling purr sounded behind Hollyleaf. Lineblaze saw him blinking warmly at her with the same fatherly pride in his eyes that Smokey had shown when he was watching Hazeltail. Hollyleaf turned away. Lineblaze knew how much she must want to respond, but she couldn't. Once Bramaclaw's approval had meant so much to all of them, but not anymore. Whatever skills we have, they didn't come from you. The snow was starting to ease off, but the cloud covering the sky made it impossible to tell where the sun was. Maybe it's nearly sunset, Lineblaze thought, shivering. Straight ahead lay the huge thunder path, and beyond it the land stretched flat as far as they could see, unbroken except for a small copse in the middle of the openness. Beyond it, over to one side, Lineblaze made out a mass of twinkling lights. What's that?
he asked, pointing with his tail. It looks as if a lot of stars have fallen down to Earth.
No, that's a lot of two-legged nests.
Altogether, Brackenfur explained. Hazeltail gasped.
I didn't think there was as many two-legs as that in the whole world.
I hope we don't have to go near them, Birchfall added. Hazeltail nodded, while Nineblaze muttered, We're not kitty pets. He felt as if he was trying to convince himself. Brambleclaw and Brackenfur led the way down to the thunder path and crouched at the edge, one at each end of the line of cats. Monsters growled past, their blazing lights reflecting off the wet black surface. This time, we'll all cross together, once there's a big enough gap, Brambleclaw decided. When I say run, run as if a whole tribe of badgers was after you. Nineblaze tried desperately to hide his fear as he waited for the deputy's signal. This was far worse than the thunder path they had crossed earlier. It seemed as if the stream of monsters would never end. Next to him, Hazeltail was quivering too, and beyond her, Birchfall's fur was bristling as if he faced a horde of enemies. On Nineblaze's other side, Hollyleaf worked her claws furiously in the ground, her eyes fixed on Brambleclaw as she waited for the command to cross. Why do I have to be brave all the time? Nineblaze asked himself miserably. It shouldn't have to be. Not now that we know the prophecy wasn't about us. As far as we know, we could be kitty pets. Horror and shame swept over him at the thought. He was so wrapped up in his dismay that he almost missed Brambleclaw's yowled signal. Now!
Chapter 6.
Hi, Cordy! They still get old if I remember the first book right, so the 9 lives I'd imagine are just extra assurance. Yeah, they do still get old. I think if they die of old age...
Has there ever been a clan leader that has died of old age?
I think if they get to that point, they must just lose all their lives at once. Like, just bang, 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 bang! Kind of like falling in and out of sleep, but each time you fall asleep, you're dying. Until you finally die. That's what I imagine it's like if you die of old age. But you can't die of sickness. That's one of the bonuses. And if you do get a wound that's bad enough that StarClan can't quote-unquote heal, then you'll die anyways. Like Tiger Star. Exactly! Like Tiger Star, but less pain and blood and flailing and screaming and gargling on his own blood. Chapter 6, I think? Hollyleaf leaped forward. I missed his death. What happened to him? So Tiger Star had brought Blood Clan to the forest, and he was trying to order them around, if I remember correctly.
Man, that was so long ago.
And Scourge?
I always say his name wrong.
He wasn't having that, and Tiger Star got mad at him and was gonna pounce on him and like start attacking him. And Scourge he had like paws, and then he had like dog's teeth or something that were like, he was wearing them on his own claws, and he like scratched his neck open, and he fell on the ground, and in front of all the clans he like died, and then he woke up because he was getting his lives back, right? And then his wound was so bad he just was like twitching and gurgling on his own blood in front of everybody. And then died, and then came back to life, and then died, and then came back to life, until he finally died. Hi, John! It was pretty intense. It was kind of, yeah. It was a lot. A lot was happening. Isn't this book for Yes. It sure is. That's why many children were traumatized about Tiger Star's death. You gotta learn some harsh lessons early. Yeah, like how being evil and getting other evil cats to do your evil work doesn't work because they're also evil. They're not gonna listen to you.
Anyways. Hollyleaf leapt forward with her clanmates. As they reached the middle of the thunder path, she heard the roar of another monster in the distance, rapidly growing louder. Dazzling light angled across her as the huge creature seemed to leap out of nowhere. Hollyleaf ran even harder, pushing with her paws against the hard surface to drive her even faster and faster to the other side. A terrified screech split the air. When Hollyleaf gained the safety of the grass beyond, she spun around to see Hazeltail, rigid with fear, crouching in the middle of the thunder path in the path of the monster.
No!
Hollyleaf yowled.
Hazeltail, run!
Hazeltail was too panic-stricken to move. With a snarl of fury, Brambleclaw darted back onto the thunder path and grabbed her by the scruff, almost under the paws of the oncoming monster.
I'll kill them both!
Birchfall wailed. The monster's blazing eye beams raked across the two warriors as Brambleclaw dragged his clanmate across the black surface. Hazeltail's legs dangled at first, as if she were dead. Then, in a heartbeat, she scrambled to her paws and fled. Brambleclaw dashed after her, the monster almost on top of his haunches. For a heartbeat, Hollyleaf was certain that he would be crushed under the monster's whirling paws. Then it was roaring past them, and Brambleclaw was still running. Hazeltail collapsed onto the grass, and Brambleclaw skidded to a halt beside her. He let out a disgusted snort. That was an example of how not to cross a thunder path.
I'm sorry.
Hazeltail sounded like a frightened kit.
I'm so sorry.
The rest of the cats flopped down, panting. Even Lineblaze looked ruffled. Soul must be braver than any of us realized, Hollyleaf thought as she tried to calm her breathing. He made this journey all by himself. Breakenfur patted up to Hazeltail and gave her a comforting link. It's okay, he murmured. We all make mistakes.
But I could have gotten Brambleclaw killed.
Hazeltail's eyes were wide with horror. Thank you, Brambleclaw. You saved my life. The fury in Brambleclaw's eyes faded, and he blinked. Just make sure I don't have to do it again. I promise he won't. After allowing them a few moments to rest, Brambleclaw urged the patrol members to their paws again. We can't stay here, he meowed. Let's head for the trees. There might be some prey there. The cats followed him as he struck out across the prickly grass. The snowing had stopped, but it still lay thickly on the ground, clogging Hollyleaf's paws as she limped after her clan deputy. My fur's so cold, I think I'm turning into an ice cat, she thought, trying to shake the cold, white clumps out of her feet. A cold wind was blowing into their faces, catching up the loose snow and flinging it into her eyes. How stung! That stings, she muttered. As they drew closer to the copse, she could see that the trees were shorter than the other ones on the ThunderClan territory and twisted into strange shapes. They looked like the bushes on WindClan's moorland territory, bent double like hunched two legs. But as she tasted the air, Hollyleaf realized that the smells were more familiar than anything she had scented since she left the forest. The reek of the thunderpath was dying away, and in its place she could pick up the scents of leaf and bark. Water flooded her jaws as she recognized mouse, rabbit, and squirrel. We'll stay here to rest and eat, Brambleclaw announced. When the cats reached the edge of the trees, we won't find anywhere better to spend the night. Birchfall's ears perked up, and Hollyleaf exchanged a hopeful glance with Lineblaze at the thought of not having to plod any further through the snow. It can't be sunset yet, Breakenfur objected, eyeing the gray clouds that still shouldered their way across the sky. No, but we're all tired and cold, Brambleclaw replied, and when we can't see the sun, we can't be sure we're headed in the right way to the sun-drowned place. Breakenfur shrugged, agreeing, and all 6 cats headed deeper into the copse. There wasn't as much snow under the shelter of the trees, and Hollyleaf felt her paws starting to warm up. The ground was uneven, sloping roughly down to where a small stream trickled among the roots and trees. Catch your prey and then rest, Brambleclaw ordered. Hollyleaf thought he sounded tense. Perhaps he was unhappy about where their journey would take them next. Does he know there's something dangerous up ahead? Breakenfur vanished into the undergrowth, and Lineblaze and Birchfall headed off together.
Would you like to hunt with me?
Hollyleaf asked Hazeltail. Her clanmate still looked shocked by her panic at the Thunderpath.
That would be great. Hazeltail's ears flicked up. Where should we start? Right here's good as any.
Both she-cats tasted the air. Hollyleaf picked up a strong scent of squirrel, and a moment later she spotted one scuffling among the debris at the foot of a twisted thorn tree. Angling her ears, she pointed it out to Hazeltail. Her friend nodded, eyes gleaming. Hollyleaf signaled to Hazeltail to stay where she was, then dropped into a hunter's crouch and worked her way into a wide circle around to the other side of the tree. She had carried out this hunting move so often in ThunderClan territory that it almost felt as if she were home again. Approaching the squirrel from the other side, she crept closer and closer, sliding her paws through the rough grass. When she thought she was close enough, she let out a fearsome yowl and leaped. Panicked, the squirrel darted away, only to run straight into Hazeltail's claws. Hazeltail dispatched it with a swift bite of the neck.
Great catch!
Hollyleaf exclaimed. You set it up. Hazeltail mewed. She looked a lot more cheerful now. As Hollyleaf padded over to her friend, Lineblaze came bounding out from behind a bramble thicket. Birchfall and I got a really fat rabbit. Birchfall appeared as he spoke, staggering as he dragged the rabbit between his forepaws. Dropping it with a gusty sigh, he stumbled into a low-growing branch of hazelbush. A load of snow slid down and covered him. He emerged hissing with disgust, shaking snow from his pelt.
Happy food checking!
Hollyleaf couldn't suppress a small murmur of laughter.
Watch out, or we'll have to call you Snowfall, she purred.
The four young cats dragged their prey into a sheltered hollow beside the stream, where the ground was covered with a drift of dead leaves. Soon Breakenfur appeared with another squirrel, and Brambleclaw with a couple of mice. As they ate, the warmth of their bodies spread throughout the hollow. With the branches of the bushes straggling overhead, Hollyleaf thought it almost felt like a den. Full and comfortable, she swept her tongue around her jaws.
I could sleep for a moon, she announced drowsily.
Fine, meowed Brambleclaw, but we better set a watch.
I'll go first,
Lineblaze offered.
Okay.
Brambleclaw stretched his jaws in an enormous yawn. Wake me when you're ready, and I'll take the next one. As Hollyleaf settled down to sleep, the last thing she saw was her brother's golden tabby shape. His ears pricked as he stared through the trees. A paw prodding into her side woke Hollyleaf. Blinking in confusion, she thought at first she was in the warrior's den.
But where's all the moss and bracken, and why can't I hear running water?
Then she remembered she was on the journey to the sun-drowned place, with Brambleclaw and the others. The ThunderClan camp lay a day's travel behind them, and everything here was new and strange. Hazeltail was gazing down at her.
It's your watch, she mewed. You're the last.
Hollyleaf staggered to her paws and arched her back in a stretch. Lineblaze, Birchfall, and Breakenfur were all curled up close by.
Where's Brambleclaw? She yawned. He woke up while I was on watch, Hazeltail explained. He said he was going to scout ahead.
She settled herself comfortably among the leaves and wrapped her tail over her nose.
I'm going to get some more sleep while I can, she murmured.
Hollyleaf groomed the scrapes of dead leaf out of her pelt, then patted the 2 or 3 paw steps to the edge of the stream. Before she bent to lap, she let her gaze travel over the trees that surrounded her. She could just make out their branches against the sky, which was beginning to fade from black to gray. Everything was quiet. She took a long drink of the icy water. As she shook the drops from her whiskers, she heard a loud alarm call and caught a glimpse of a blackbird shooting upwards. A moment later, Brambleclaw came stalking through the trees, carrying a rabbit in his jaws. The hunting is good here, he remarked, dropping his prey at Hollyleaf's paws. The rich scent of the fresh kill made Hollyleaf's mouth water. Should I catch some more? She suggested. One rabbit won't go far between 6 of us. Fine, Brambleclaw replied, but don't go out of the copse. I'll wake the others. Next time, you can take the first watch, he added, but right now we need to keep moving.
Poor Hazeltail. She didn't get to sleep at all.
Or sleep for the last point of time. Hollyleaf followed the stream, bounded up beside a small waterfall, and practically fell over a vault.
That's what I'm saying. Poor tail. Hollyleaf followed the stream, bounded up beside a small waterfall, and practically fell over a vole just before it could slip into its hole in the bank. Scratching earth over its limp body, she climbed the bank and stood tasting the air, her ears alert for the tiny sounds of prey. Soon she spotted a mouse nibbling seeds under a bush. Her paws lighter than air, Hollyleaf glided over the ground and broke the mouse's neck with a swift blow of her paw. Then she went back to collect the vole and returned to the hollow with both pieces of fresh kill. She would have been proud of her hunting skills once, especially when she could show Brambleclaw how fast she could bring back prey. Now she couldn't even meet the deputy's gaze as he congratulated her. All her training, everything she thought she knew, was nothing but dust if she wasn't even a real clan cat. All 6 cats were awake. They ate quickly and followed Brambleclaw to the edge of the copse. "We're not far from Midnight's home now," he meowed. "Be careful and keep close to me." The land ahead was flat and empty, except for the 2-leg nests, with no shelter in sight. The sky was clear, but for a few ragged, scudding clouds, and behind the patrol it shone milky pale with dawn. The wind hit Hollypaw in the face as soon as she left the shelter of the trees. It felt cold and sharp, with an unfamiliar tang, like the scent of frozen blood. "It's gonna blow my fur off," she heard Birchfall complain. Hollyleaf's eyes and mouth stung, and her pelt felt sticky. She screwed up her eyes and ducked her head, keeping close to Lineblaze as they trekked on and across the brittle grass until, beneath the whistling of the wind, Hollyleaf could make out a dull roaring, like nothing she had ever heard before. Suddenly, Lineblaze halted. Unable to stop in time, Hollyleaf bumped into him, hissing with annoyance. She staggered as Hazeltail collided with her from behind. Raising her head, Hollyleaf saw that Brambleclaw and Breakenfur was standing side by side at the head of the patrol, staring at something. Hollyleaf padded up to them, the rest of the cats falling into a line alongside. Great Star Clan! They had reached the very edge of the land. At their paws, the ground fell away into a tumble of rocks. Stretching in front of them, as far as Hollyleaf could see, was an endless expanse of heaving, roaring gray water. "Welcome to the Sundrown Place," Brambleclaw meowed. Wow. Jayfeather stood in the clearing after the Soul Patrol had left, sniffing the tang of snow on the dawn's wind. He could hear rustling as several cats pushed their way through the branches of the warrior's den. There was a strange sense of tension among his clanmates. "Dawn Patrol!" Great Stripe's voice came from close by Jayfeather. "Sandstorm, you can lead. Take Foxpaw and Squirrelflat with you, and take care along the Wing Clan border." "Do I have to go with them?" Oh, sorry, that wasn't Jayfeather. "Do I have to go with them?" Jayfeather heard the dismayed voice of Foxpaw. "I don't like Wind Clan." "Shh!" Ferncloud sounded shocked. "You know there's nothing to be frightened of anymore." Jayfeather winced. It sounded as if most of the clan believed that Soul was the murderer, and there was nothing more to worry about. But they're wrong. They're completely wrong. "Foxpaw, you're my apprentice," Squirrelflight meowed with an edge of annoyance in her voice. "Of course you'd come with me. Or, if you'd rather, you can go and search the elders for ticks." No, I guess I'll come." "You'll be fine," Firestar assured the apprentice. Jayfeather hadn't heard him come down from the high ledge. "What have we got for hunting patrols, Graystripe?" "I thought I'd lead one," the Grey Warrior meowed. "I'll take Sorreltail and Mouse Whisker." In a lower voice, he added to Firestar, "Or if you or I do the border patrols, every cat'll think there's something to be scared of." "Good thinking," Firestar agreed. "Dustbelt, will you lead another hunting patrol?" Graystripe went on more loudly. "Cloudtail and Brightheart can go with you. Try the Shadowclan border, but remember what Brambleclaw said about being careful not to cross it." "I wasn't born yesterday, thanks," Dustpelt snapped, irritation sparking from him. "Should we take Icepaw?" Brightheart asked. "She doesn't get out much, now that White Wing is in the nursery." "Sure," Graystripe meowed. "Icepaw, stop batting that bark around and come over here." Jayfeather heard the scampering of paws and excited mews of the other apprentice bounding up. "You're going hunting with Dustpelt, Cloudtail, and Brightheart," Graystripe told them. "We're counting on you to bring back a lot of fresh kill." "I'm sure you will,"
Firestar assured her. You're doing so well. Jayfeather could feel the apprentice's happy pride as she padded over to join the senior warriors. It won't be long before we'll be holding another warrior ceremony, Firestar remarked to Graystripe. Although his words sounded cheerful, Jayfeather picked up the doubt buzzing beneath them. He knew that his clan leader's thoughts were with the patrol of clanmates who were headed off to find Soul. Did Soul really kill Ashfur? Was I right to send so many warriors to look for him? Will my clan be vulnerable without them? Jayfeather could hear his leader's thoughts as clearly as if Firestar had spoken them out loud. To his surprise, he realized that Firestar still felt weak after the attack of Greencough that had taken one of his 9 lives. Lurking in his mind was the fear that the sickness would return. And maybe he's right, Jayfeather thought. He could hear Spiderleg wheezing over by the nursery as his kits tumbled over him. That's right, their mother, Daisy, meowed. You can practice your fighting moves with your father. Spiderleg, can't you be a scarier badger than that? Badgers don't... Spiderleg was finding it hard to catch his breath. Get Greencough, he finished painfully. Nearby, Millie was grooming her 3 kits, breaking off every now and then to cough. Don't stay out if it gets too cold, Graystripe warned her, bounding over to her side. And you 3 kids, don't play too rough with your mother. Jayfeather heard Blossom Kit's high-pitched mew. We won't. Right. The patrols can go now, Graystripe announced as he returned. Keep a good lookout and report anything you see that's at all strange. The stone hollow was quiet after all the patrols had left. The remaining warriors returned to their dens to get out of the cold. Daisy and Millie rounded up their kits. It's time for some exercise, Daisy meowed. Running around to keep you warm. Who can fetch me a twig from the thorn barrier and get back here first? I can! All the kits yowled together, and they pelted across the clearing. Jayfeather jumped back to avoid being knocked over and retreated into his den. As soon as he set a paw behind the bramble screen, the dust from churned up moss and bracken hit him in the nose. What's going on? He asked, stifling a sneeze. I'm changing the bedding, Leafpool explained. Could you come over here and roll up this moss, please? Jayfeather patted over, his paws sinking into the heaps of moss and bracken that Leafpool had already clawed together. I think it's gonna snow. I think it's gonna snow, he pointed out. All the fresh stuff will be soaked with it. We can squeeze the water out, Leafpool replied. This whole bedding is disgusting. How can we ask 6 cats to sleep in it? I'd rather sleep in it, Jayfeather thought, than go outside to get freezing cold and wet. He was starting to push the piles together, half burying himself in the dried fronds of fern and clumps of moss, when he heard a cat brush past the brambles. He picked up Firestar's scent above the dusty smell of the bedding. How are you, Leafpool? Firestar meowed. Fine, thanks. Leafpool's tone was brisk, and she didn't stop raking out the remains of the bedding. There's something I want to ask you. Firestar's voice trailed off, and Jayfeather picked up a strong waves of anxiety coming from him. He crouched among the ferns, trying not to sneeze again and hoping that whatever Firestar had to say didn't need to be said in private. Well? Leafpool prompted. It's just... Firestar broke off again. Spit it out! Jayfeather urged him silently. I know it's not my place to tell a medicine cat how to speak with StarClan, Firestar meowed, sounding more awkward with every word. But I wondered... Have you thought of finding Ashfur in StarClan and asking him who killed him? What? Jayfeather nearly choked on a piece of moss. For a long moment, Leafpool was silent. When she spoke at last, her voice was icy as leaf-bare snow. It's not my choice whom I meet in StarClan. Our ancestors approach me. I cannot search them out. If Ashfur comes to me and wishes to talk, then I will listen. The way she words that, I can't look for them. It's almost like she's talking to Jayfeather, because Jayfeather can look for them. He can purposely seek them out. He doesn't need to wait to be chosen. It was only shock and anger that
she felt as she answered Firestar. Or it wasn't only shock and anger she felt as she answered Firestar. Jayfeather realized there was something else behind that. Could it be fear? I'm sorry, Firestar apologized. I didn't think. I'll do all that I can, I promise, Leafpool added more gently. I want to know who killed Ashfur as much as you do. So why am I finding it hard to believe her? Jayfeather asked himself. Dun dun. Later that day, after Jayfeather had cleared out all the old bedding and delivered Tansy to the cat still suffering from the after effects of green cough, he padded over to the fresh kill pile to choose a bowl. A thick flurry of snow had swept across the clearing earlier, but now a weak ray of sunlight warmed his fur. While he was eating, a scent of leafpool emerged from the elder's den with Mousefur and Longtail padding behind her. Jayfeather, Leafpool called to him, when you finish there, I want you to go out on a stroll with Mousefur and Longtail. It'll be the first time they've been out of camp since the green cough. Jayfeather gulped down a mouthful of wool. Okay. We're not kids, you know, Mousefur grumbled. We can be trusted to get to the lake and back without some cat guiding our paws. I know, Leafpool replied patiently, but I want Jayfeather to look for herbs. We're getting very low on tansy. We could do with Cherville and yarrow, too. There might still be something growing under the trees near the lake. Mousefur's only response was an exaggerated sigh. Jayfeather pictured the skinny brown elder rolling her eyes. Leafpool padded up to Jayfeather, close enough to brush his pelt. I want you to take special care of Mousefur, she whispered. Make sure she doesn't go too far, and check her breathing. More loudly, she added, Mousefur, maybe you and Longtail could help Jayfeather carry back any herbs he finds. I think we might just about manage that, Mousefur growled. Jayfeather swallowed the last of his wool and led the way across the clearing and through the thorn tunnel. Mousefur followed him, guiding Longtail. The forest seemed very quiet now that most of the leaves had fallen from the trees. Jayfeather had to push his way through mounds of dead leaves on the ground to keep alert to avoid drifts of snow that still remained under the trees. The air tingled with frost. A scent of water led him towards the lake. He kept one ear pricked for Mousefur and Longtail, who padded beside him, and sensed before Mousefur the branch that had fallen across their path. This way, he meowed to Longtail, laying his tail over the blind tabby's shoulder to guide him around the obstacle. It's okay, he won't get your paws tangled. I think you see better than any of us. Mousefur didn't sound as grouchy as usual. She almost sounded impressed. I wish I did, Jayfeather thought. Right now I can't see far enough. He wanted to know what had happened to the prophecy, and whether Rock knew anything about the secret Squirrelflight had revealed. Most of all, he wanted to know who his real parents were. I can! The trees thinned out, and cold wind hit Jayfeather in the face as the three cats neared the lake. You go off and do whatever you have to, Mousefur meowed. Longtail and I are going to find a nice patch of sun to snooze in. Yes, there should be plenty of herbs. Look, the skinny brown elder interrupted. I know Leafpool only sent you along with us to be sure we made it to the lake without kneeling over. You'll be lucky to find enough herbs to fill your own mouth this far in Leaf Bear. It's not like that, Jayfeather protested. Go on, we'll be fine, Longtail insisted. And if you need our help, just call, Mousefur added. I might be a little unsteady on my feet, but there's nothing wrong with my ears. Fine. Relieved to be free of his duty, Jayfeather pelted along the lake shore until he reached the twisted tree roots where he had hidden the stick. A cold wind from the lake blew his fur the wrong way as he tugged it out and dragged it under an elder bush. Then he laid down with his paws resting on the scratches. Come on, Rock, I need to talk to you. Alarm trickled down his spine as he realized he might find himself back with the ancient clan. Something inside him was drawing him back. Desire to see the friends he had made there, curiosity about how they had coped on the journey to the mountains, but he had to fight against it.
He knew that the ancient clan Sharpclaws couldn't help him now. Jayfeather concentrated as hard as he could, trying to picture the underground cave where Rock waited, but he could still feel grass under his belly and a twig tickling his ear.
There's no need for that,
A voice behind him grumbled.
Stick isn't the answer to everything.
Jayfeather's eyes flew open, and he realized that he could see. He was still under the elder bush. Turning, he saw Rock standing behind him, almost transparent against the grasses and trees. Rock crept under the bush to join Jayfeather, his hairless body smelling of stone in the endless dark of the tunnels. Jayfeather suppressed a shiver. "Did you know all along that Squirrelflight was lying to us?" he demanded. Rock's bulging, sightless eyes turned towards him.
The answers lie within your own clan, he replied, if you can find them.
"That's no answer," Jayfeather mewed irritably. "I need your help."
I cannot give the kind of help you want,
Rock warned him. "Then what about the prophecy? If we're not Firestar's kin—"
Make your own future, Jayfeather,
the spirit cat interrupted.
Don't expect it to be dropped at your paws like a piece of fresh kill.
Every hair on Jayfeather's pelt prickled with annoyance. How was he supposed to make his own future if no cat would tell him anything? He dug his claws into the earth. "Jayfeather!" Mousefar's voice came from the edge of the lake. "Jayfeather!" Darkness slammed down over Jayfeather's vision. The scent of Rock vanished. "Jayfeather, where are you?" He crawled out from under the elder bush, kicking dead leaves and debris over the stick. He would have to come back later and hide it properly. "What are you doing under there?" Mousefar asked, padding up to him. "We're ready to go back now. We wondered if you had any herbs for us to carry." No. I haven't found any," Jayfeather stammered. Mousefar sighed. "Maybe you're not looking in the right place. Last I heard, herbs don't grow well under elder bushes. There's a huge clump of tansy just behind you," she added. Jayfeather's pelt grew hot with embarrassment. He should have taken the time to grab a few herbs before he tried to speak with Rock. He'd been so intent on finding the spirit cat that he hadn't even noticed the sharp scent of tansy. Thanks," he muttered. He was aware of Mousefar's irritation as he and the skinny elder picked the herbs together. It wasn't enough for Jayfeather to need help carrying it, and he sent in no other herbs as all three cats headed back towards the camp. "Is that all?" Leafpool asked. She was waiting outside the den when Jayfeather arrived with the tansy. "What about yarrow and chervil I asked for?" "I couldn't find any," Jayfeather mumbled around the bunch of stems. Leafpool snorted. Didn't look more likely. "Jayfeather, I didn't send you out there to waste time. You have to do what you're supposed to." Her voice deepened to a snarl. "If every cat did that, there wouldn't be any problems." "Who put ants in her fur?" Jayfeather wondered. It wasn't like Leafpool to be so short-tempered. For once he didn't want to argue with her, so he just headed for the den to put the tansy away. Leafpool brushed past him. "Leave that! I'll do it." She almost snatched the herbs out of his jaws. Fury rolled off her as she carried them into the cave. Jayfeather backed out of the den and padded across to the fresh kill pile, but he hadn't eaten earlier. Even the freshly caught mouse couldn't tempt him. But he had eaten earlier, and even a freshly caught mouse couldn't tempt him. There were pangs in his belly sharper than hunger. He already missed Lionblaze and Hollyleaf more than he would have ever thought possible. They had never been separated for this long before. In the dream, Midnight had said that the patrol was chasing a wild geese, and Rock had told him that the answer lay inside Thunderclap.
I'm being caught.
But Jayfeather didn't know how he was going to find them on his own. What kind of power was it to walk in other cats' dreams when he still woke up blind? There was no way he was going to find out anything when he was trapped in darkness at every step. Chapter 8. Why do I always give old people a voice like they're literally on deathbed? Because I think they are literally on deathbed. I think Mousefur is really close to death. She's one of the... I think only her and Dustpelt and Longtail are
warriors that were alive in the very first book. Like, who were warriors at the time. Like, Firepaw, like, Firestar was Firepaw. Like, he was literally just old enough to be turned into an apprentice. Same with Greypaw. So, only those three, and 2 of them are elders in the Elder Den. The rest of them are dead. So yeah, I think they are on death's bed. I don't know how Dustpelt is still going. He must be too, like, beefy. You know, like, cats that don't get neutered, like male cats? They just keep growing and they get so big and beefy, it's insane. When I was I was volunteering at, like, a SPCA, which is, you know, like a animal thing in BC. They had, like, a cat that came in, and he was like that. He hadn't been neutered, and he was probably like 6 years old. He was like a wild alley cat they took in, and he was so grizzled, and he was so beefy. I've never seen a cat that beefy before in my life. Like, he was all muscle, and it was like looking at a real warrior cat. Like, for real. He had like matted fur, but also, like, just because he had been, like, rolling in dirt and stuff, and he had, like, scars on his face, and one of his ears was, like, had a notch in it, and he was, like, all muscle. He was so heavy. Me and another volunteer had to lift him up together because he was that big and massive and heavy, and he was just a normal tabby. Like, he wasn't a Maine Coon or anything. He was, like, just a beefy tabby. It was wild. That's what I think Dustpelt is. Wow, a pond spout. Cat, what is your icon? Is that a tree? I got a popka. Kabuto! Oh my god, no one's called Kabuto yet? Cat, you always seem to catch new things. Alright. Chapter... what was it? 8? Yeah, 8. I thought I was on chapter 8 before. Oh well. Lionblaze forgot to breathe as he stared across the vast gray water. Sharp, cold wind buffeted his fur. He felt as though it could sweep him off his paws at any moment and hurl him down the cliffs to the rocks far below. This way, Bramaclaw ordered. He led the patrol along the edge of the cliff to a narrow gully, lined with scrubby grass. Lionblaze gasped in relief as he stepped out of the wind. Midnight the Badger lives near here, Bramaclaw went on, once the patrol was clustered around him at the bottom of the gully. How did you know where to find her? Hollyleaf asked curiously. We didn't, the clan deputy admitted. We didn't even know we were looking for a badger. He twitched his tail tip. I found Midnight's den by falling into it. Hazeltail's eyes stretched wide. Were you hurt? Aren't you scared of Midnight? Birchfall added. Brambleclaw flicked one ear as if he were trying to get rid of a fly. This isn't time for stories. We have to keep going. He led his patrol through the gully, ever so often climbing the slope to pop his head out and see how far along the cliff they were. Lionblaze and the others stayed crouching in the dip, listening to the blast of wind overhead. At last, Brambleclaw beckoned them with his tail to join him at the top. We're almost there, he told them. Follow me closely. Lionblaze and the rest of the patrol flattened their bellies to the short, bristly grass as they padded after Brambleclaw towards the edge of the cliff. Is he gonna jump over? Lionblaze wondered as each paw step took them closer to the sheer drop. But just before the land vanished from under their paws, Brambleclaw jumped down into a much deeper, narrower gully, sloping steeply down through a dip into the cliffs. Brigandfur and the other cats followed him, with Lionblaze bringing up the rear.
The sharp stones that covered the bottom of the gully dug into his pads or skidded from under him, nearly carrying him off his paws. Birchfall slipped, crashing into Hazeltail, and Brakenfur had to block the two younger cats before they hurled down any further. "Thanks!" Birchfall gasped. "Just watch where you're putting your paws," Brakenfur mewed. The gully led down into a rocky shore, the sand almost completely covered with pebbles. Lionblaze had seen waves on the lake when the wind blew hard, but these waves were much bigger, crashing into the rock with spurts of foam. Hazeltail stared at them, wide-eyed, so scared that she could scarcely put one paw in front of the other. "I hate this," Hollyleaf muttered, backing away towards the cliff face. "My fur's getting all wet and sticky." She turned her head to give her shoulder a lick. Yuck! Lionblaze felt the same stickiness on his pelt. His nose wrinkled at the unfamiliar tang in the air. "This is no place for cats," he told himself. With a wave of his tail, Brambleclaw jumped onto the rocky outcrop and instantly disappeared under the edge of the cliff. "Where'd he go?" Birchfall asked, bewildered. Lionblaze spotted the deputy's amber eyes glowing from the shadows at the bottom of the cliff. "Come on!" Brambleclaw called. Reluctantly, the rest of the patrol followed him beneath the jagged, teeth-like rocks and into a low-roofed cave. Lionblaze gazed around at the pale, sandy walls and the floor strewn with large, smooth stones. High above them, gray light slanted down from a small hole in the roof. "Is that where you fell?" Lionblaze guessed, remembering how Brambleclaw had said he first found Midnight. Brambleclaw nodded. "The cave was full of water, and I nearly drowned. Your mother saved my life." A cold pang swept through Lionblaze, harsh as the booming water outside. "She's not my mother." The words almost forced themselves out of his jaws, but he bit them back. Brambleclaw didn't know. This wasn't the place to tell him. Hollyleaf hadn't heard the exchange between Lionblaze and Brambleclaw. She was sniffing curiously around the cave, padding over to where the floor sloped upward at the back, turning soft and sandy. Some branches were tucked in at the top. "What are those doing there?" Hollyleaf asked. "This is Midnight's den," Brambleclaw explained. For the first time, Lionblaze noticed the scent of badger underlying the smell of water. His neck fur bristled, and he made himself relax. The scent was stale, and besides, Brambleclaw had told him that Midnight was friendly to cats. "Will she come and find us?" Hazeltail mewed nervously. "I hope she does," Hollyleaf replied. "Jayfeather told us all about her. She knows too much. She knows so much." Her green eyes flashed at Lionblaze from the shadows. "Is that what she really wants?" he wondered. "Does she think Midnight can tell us who our parents are?" "Midnight isn't here." Brambleclaw sounded disappointed. "And her scent is stale, so there's no point in waiting for her. She's been gone for several days. We'd better get back." When they emerged from the cave, the water had risen even further up the shore. A wave crashed into the rocks and licked over the pebbles. Lionblaze jumped back as water swirled around his paws before retreating with a rattling hiss. "Back to the gully, quickly," Brambleclaw ordered. He took the lead as the patrol scrambled back across the rocks. Lionblaze staggered as water foamed around him as high as his belly fur, but he managed to stay on his paws and drag himself to safety. Up the steep slope of the gully where Brambleclaw and Hazeltail had already taken refuge, Hollyleaf dragged herself after him, her black pelt soaked and flattened to her sides from the spray. "I hate this place," she spat as she tried to shake herself dry. "Midnight must be mouse-brained to live here." A sharp cry of alarm cut through her words. As Birchfell tried to leap up into the gully, a huge wave crashed over him. Hollyleaf stretched out a paw, but before she could grab him, the wave swept him back out of reach. Lionblaze caught a glimpse of him struggling in the gray water, his jaws wide in a yowl of terror, before his head went under. "He'll drown!" Hollyleaf screeched. At the same instant, a dark shadow flashed over Lionblaze's head. Brambleclaw had leapt down into the water and was swimming strongly to where Birchfall had disappeared. Brakenfur, still precariously balanced on the rocks below, launched himself after the clan deputy. Lionblaze bunched his muscles to leap down and join them, only to find Hollyleaf blocking his way. "You can't," she rasped. "More cats will die." "Saki, hi! Behind, I have to go watch the other VODs before I read this book. Hi, Cat. Hi, Saki. I hope you're well."
for one time.
There must be something we can do, Lion Blaze meowed desperately. Glancing around, he saw a straggling bush growing between the rocks a couple of tail lengths above them. Hazeltail, he called, can you break a branch off that bush? The young she-cat was staring at the sun-drowned water, frozen with horror as she watched her clanmate struggling in the waves. She startled as Lion Blaze spoke, then turned and began tugging at the longest branch. Lion Blaze scrambled up to help her. To his relief, the bush was dry. The branch cracked away from the main trunk so that he and Hazeltail could claw it free and drag it down to the gully to the edge of the water. Lion Blaze let out a gasp of relief when he saw that Birchfall had resurfaced. Brambleclaw had his teeth fastened in the young dark warrior's neck, while Breakenfur swam on his other side, trying to push him towards the cliff. Dropping the branch at the bottom of the gully, Lion Blaze beckoned his sister with his tail. Grab the end, he directed. Sink your teeth and claws in, and don't let go. Hollyleaf obeyed, pushing the branch so that it stuck out of the water as far as it would go. Lion Blaze and Hazeltail crouched beside her, all three cats hanging onto the end of the branch, trying to keep it steady among the crashing waves. More water swirled around them. We can't keep this up for long, Lion Blaze thought grimly. We'll be swept away as well. He narrowed his eyes to peer across the roaring water and spotted his clanmates bob above the surface as a wave drove them inshore. The short leaf-bare day was drawing to an end. The sinking sun flooded the surface of the water with scarlet so that the cats' heads were just shadows bobbing in a sea of blood. The waves swept them closer still. Breakenfur reached out and managed to sink the claws of one paw into the end of the branch. Grab it! He yowled to Birchfall. The young Tom looked frozen with fear, his eyes staring vacantly, but as Brambleclaw let go of his scruff, he clutched wildly at the branch and dragged himself along it until he could scramble out onto the rocks at the bottom of the gully. Lion Blaze let go of his end of the branch to haul Birchfall's limp body up higher. Water streamed from his pelt and he vomited up a huge mouthful of liquid. Breakenfur clawed his way along the branch to safety and stood shaking the water out of his ginger fur. Brambleclaw! He yowled. Brambleclaw, where are you? Cold horror flooded over Lion Blaze as he realized that the deputy had disappeared. He can't have drowned. What will he do without him? Then he spotted Brambleclaw's dark head break the surface a couple of fox lengths away from the end of the branch. He was trying to swim, but his efforts were much feebler now. Waves were tugging at Hollyleaf and Hazeltail as they clung onto the branch. Hollyleaf's tail streamed out into the water. Get back, but don't let go, Lion Blaze ordered, his heart pounding as hard as the waves on the shore. Then he raised his voice to a yowl. Brambleclaw, over here! The deputy heard him and seemed to find new strength. Struggling to keep afloat, he let the next wave carry him up to the branch, then struck out towards it. He managed to fasten his claws into it and haul himself out before the retreating wave swept him back again. Fox dung! He spat, standing on the stones of the gully with water eddying around his paws. I thought I was on my way to StarClan for sure. The cats began to retreat from the hungry water. Brambleclaw scrambled up the gully until he stood beside Birchfall, who was still slumped on the stones with his eyes closed. Only his heaving chest showed that he was alive.
Okay, I'm not that much behind this book anyways. Woohoo! What chapter am I on? I think this is chapter 8? Hi, Zaku! Everything is going wonderfully. I hope that you are doing wonderfully too. I didn't get to see what you got from the concession, though. What did you get?
Brambleclaw prodded him with one paw. Birchfall? The young tabby's eyes opened and he let out a shuddering sigh. I might have drowned. His voice shook with fear. I might have never seen White Wing again. Or our kids. But you're fine now. Brambleclaw's voice rasped in his throat, rubbed raw by the bitter waves. It's time we started moving.
Bro, that's brutal. Sights that are beautiful to behold. Sunsets on the beach, shooting stars, Nono's carnival. Wow. That's so nice. You're beautiful. No, you!
The clan deputy didn't allow his patrol to rest until they reached the shallow gully that ran along the top of the cliff.
You're munching on a vine right now? Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad that you like the vine. Out of the wind, with the waves booming against the cliffs below, they could collapse and try to groom the water out of their fur. Lion Blaze winced at the bitter taste of salt and saw that his clanmates were making faces as they licked. Thanks, Bramaclaw and Breakenfur, Birchfall mumbled. You saved my life back there. Breakenfur touched the young Tom's shoulder with the tip of his tail. It's all over, and thanks StarClan, no cat died. Bramaclaw, what do you think we should do next, seeing that Midnight isn't here? There was a flood? Who died? Oh, no flood. They just were in water. And nobody died. Yo, you're good. Bramaclaw accepted his clanmate's tactful change of subjects with a flick of his ears. We'll keep looking for Soul. There'll be cats in the two-leg place who have seen him. The new death toll is 8. The hair on Breakenfur's neck lifted at the mention of Soul's name. Yes, he had a look of kitty pet about him. That cat's no kitty pet. Lineblaze didn't say the words out loud, in case some cat asked him how he knew so much about Soul. He exchanged a doubtful glance with Hollyleaf. He wasn't sure that he wanted to visit the two-leg place, and he could tell that his sister felt the same. Hazeltail was looking nervous, too, but it was Birchfall who spoke what they were all thinking. Do we have to go so close to two legs? It's not right for clan cats. We've got no choice, Brambleclaw growled. We're not going back to ThunderClan without Soul. I wonder whether Bramaclaw would be so keen to hunt down Ashfur's killer if he knew that Ashfur had tried to destroy Squirrelflight, Lineblaze thought. Bramaclaw also didn't know that Squirrelflight had lied to him. She let him believe he was our father. Would he be so loyal to her if he found out the truth? Lineblaze shook his head, trying to clear it of all lies. He had to fix his mind on the one thing he could control, being the best warrior for ThunderClan that he could possibly be. I know I can still fight without being hurt. I just need a chance to prove it. What's the matter? Hollyleaf muttered into his ear. Have you heard something? Her black pelt was bristling. Lineblaze realized that he had sunk his claws into the ground as if he were about to attack. Ashfur's already dead? We're currently looking for Ashfur's murderer. We think that it's Soul. Or that's what the patrol is looking for Soul, to see if Soul did kill Ashfur, or if Soul saw anything. Rest in peace, Ashfur. You knew too much. Drama! No, it's okay, he replied, forcing himself to relax. I was just thinking about Soul. I think I know who it is, because I read this series before. But the cats, I just called you guys the cats. The rest of you Pop Cubs maybe don't know, which I know you don't know. So, who knows? Who knows who it is? Bramaclaw hadn't heard their exchange. This is what we're going to do, he announced. There's nowhere for cats to live near the edge of the cliff, and nowhere to catch prey, so we'll have to head for the outskirts of the two-leg place and look for any cats who might have seen Soul. We're pretty close to cats. Yeah, I guess you guys are cats in some way, right? I'm a cat. I'm just a big cat. I got spoiled, but that's okay. Don't worry, it's a whole other thing when you actually read it. I don't even know who Soul is. He's like this messiah cat. I'm a cat lady, I am. Playing Monster Hunter Rise. Ooh! Are you winning? Are you winning? I'm a mechanical cat. You are, because you're techno. Barley is Soul. No, Barley isn't Soul! is old. Wait, no, Purdy. Barley is with Ravenpaw. Ravenpaw and Barley, right? Yeah. I'm a burnt cat with clown hat and wings. Messiah is crazy but accurate. It is! It's true, right? I'm winning. Good. So long as we stay on the outskirts, Hollyleaf muttered. The patrol slunk cautiously over the edge of the gully and made for the red blur of two-leg nests on the far side of the open stretch of cliff. Lionblaze felt thankful that the noise of crashing water was dying away behind him, though the wind still thrust at him. The sun had vanished, swallowed up by the sun-drowned place, and shadows were stretching across the grass. Lionblaze's stomach growled, and he remembered that he hadn't had so much as a sniff of fresh kill since early that morning. "We'll look for prey as soon as we get to the two-leg place," Breakenfur promised when he heard the rumble of Lionblaze's belly. "What sort of prey will we find there?" Lionblaze wondered. "I'm not eating kitty pet food." As they drew closer to the two-legged nests, Lionblaze grew more and more anxious. He could tell from his clanmates' bristling fur and flickering glances that they felt the same. Something black swooped down on them with a high-pitched chittering sound. Lionblaze threw himself to the ground and rolled over, his teeth bared and his claws extended, in time to spot a bat fluttering away and vanishing into the growing darkness. Birchfall suppressed a small murmur of laughter. "I wish you'd caught it," he mewed. "Then we might all have had a bite to eat." "Pretty small bite for the 6 of us," Lionblaze growled. Lights were beginning to appear in the two-legged nest, and the sky above them was lit by an eerie orange glow. Lionblaze wrinkled his nose against the strange scents that felt his neck fur bristle at the harsh, unfamiliar sounds. Beside him, Hollyleaf's eyes were glowing, and her tail was fluffed out to twice its size. Even Brambleclaw and Breakenfur were moving more cautiously as the huge two-legged dens loomed up ahead. "I don't think Soul lives with the two legs," Brambleclaw meowed, "so we're more likely to find him, or cats who have seen him, near the edge." He led the way across the stretch of softer grass and halted in front of a tall fence made out of flat strips of wood. Lionblaze tasted the air. Among many smells he couldn't identify, he picked up the scents of two-leg and dog. "Each two-leg nest has a small piece of territory attached to it," Brambleclaw explained. "It's enclosed by a fence made of wood or red stones. I think that's the two-leg way of marking their borders. "How does he know so much about it?" Hollyleaf muttered suspiciously. "There was a two-leg place in the old forest," Breakenfur told her, "right up against our territory." "Don't you remember the story of how Firestar wandered away from his two-leg nest and met Greystripe in the forest?" Hollyleaf shrugged. "I guess." Brambleclaw led the way alongside the fence, towards a gap that was flooded by orange light. Before they reached it, loud barking exploded from the other side of the fence. Lionblaze jumped as 2 dogs slammed their bodies against the flimsy wood. He exchanged an alarmed glance with Hollyleaf. "What if the fence gives way?" "Run!" Brambleclaw yowled. The patrol bolted along the fence and swerved through the gap. As soon as he set paw on the hard black stone at the end of the fence, Lionblaze was engulfed in a beam of piercing white light. A monster was charging straight for them. Some cat let out a screech of terror. For a heartbeat, Lionblaze spotted his clanmates outlined against the glare from the monster's eyes. Then he leaped back to the side of the thunderpath, landing with a thump in the middle of some thorns. When he dared look up, the monster had slowed down and was turning into a gap behind one of the two-leg nests. Sharp orange light shone down from the tall stone trees standing in lines alongside both of the sides of the thunderpath. Just opposite, Lionblaze spotted Birchfall sprawled at the foot of the fence, and Breakenfur balanced on top of it, his back arched and his tail straight up and bristling. Hollyleaf and Brambleclaw emerged side by side from the deep shadows under a tree. "Birchfall?" Lionblaze called softly. "Are you okay?" To his relief, the young tabby Tom scrambled to his paws and gave his whiskers a shake. "I've got all warriors in StarClan inside my head," he meowed. "That thing was fierce!" The thorns where Lionblaze had landed grew beside another gap in the two-leg fence. His belly lurched when he spotted another monster in front of the two-leg den. Then his breathing steadied and his heart slowed down as he realized that this monster was asleep. On the other side of the gap, a shiny two-legged thing had tipped over, spilling out a pile of rubbish. Lion Blaze's nose wrinkled at the scent of crow food. Then the heap heaved and Hazeltail emerged from the middle of it, shaking debris from her pelt. I knocked the thing over, she complained, and now I'm covered with all this yucky stuff. Lion Blaze padded across to help her. Laying into her pelt were scraps of something that smelled like plant, but they were cold and slimy, like herbs picked out and left in the rain to rot. Cautiously, he stretched out a paw to knock them off. Hollyleaf and Brambleclaw bounded to help. They taste vile. Hollyleaf licked her shoulder and swiped her tongue around her lips, as if she was trying to get rid of the disgusting taste. I'd rather eat fox dung. Dragonfur padded up and stood at the edge of the thunder path, keeping watch for more monsters. His fur still hadn't settled down. Lion Blaze noticed that Brambleclaw looked just as ruffled as he helped Hazeltail clean her pelt. Seeing the senior warrior's confidence shaken made Lion Blaze feel a bit braver. There can't have been dogs in the two-leg place near the old forest, he murmured to Hollyleaf. Even Brambleclaw was surprised. I wonder what else will surprise us, Hollyleaf responded. Meanwhile, Birchfall had crossed the thunderpath and was nosing around in the heap of debris that had fallen out of the shiny two-leg thing. Hey, look at this! He meowed. Brambleclaw, can we eat it? Lion Blaze wasn't sure at first what his clanmate was dragging out of the pile of rubbish. It was smooth and pale and smelled a little like fresh kill, though it was no kind of prey that he had ever seen before. The stink of two legs clung to it as well. Lion Blaze knew he didn't want to eat it, but at the same time his belly growled at the thought of food. Brambleclaw sniffed the thing carefully and nibbled a bit from one side. Tastes a bit like blackbird, he reported after a moment. I don't think it'll hurt us to eat it, and we need food. I guess this means he doesn't think we'll catch much prey around here, Hollyleaf whispered into Lion Blaze's ear. Brambleclaw clawed the two-legged prey into fair shares for each cat. Richfeld checked the rubbish again, but he didn't find any more prey. This isn't bad, Lion Blaze mumbled to Hollyleaf around a mouthful of the stuff, if you ignore the scent of two legs. Hollyleaf was crouched over her share, eating it in neat, rapid bites. Huh, give me a good plump full any day. With the edge taken off his hunger, Lion Blaze felt stronger, but as Brambleclaw led them further into the two-leg place, he started to feel trapped. The red stone nests reared up on either side, closer than the walls of the hollow and higher than the trees in the forest. His pads ached from walking on the hard stone. How can any cat live here? The orange glare from the stone trees cast the cat shadows huge and wavering on the wall beside them as they slunk along the edge of the thunderpath. Suddenly, Hollyleaf stiffened, flicking her tail to touch Brambleclaw on the shoulder. There's something up ahead, she hissed. Lion Blaze froze as Brambleclaw raised his tail for the patrol to halt. He half expected the roar of another monster, but nothing broke the silence except for the patter of approaching paws. Hazeltail grew closer to his side. Lion Blaze could feel her quivering. What if it's a dog? She murmured. Then we'll fight it. Lion Blaze flexed his claws. He relaxed with a sigh as a small black and white cat appeared from around the next corner. It halted and stared at the patrol in horror. Its back arched and every hair on its mouth standing on end. Can you imagine this one tiny, black and white cat just meow? Almost immediately, the newcomer started to back away, its terrified gaze still fixed on the forest cats. Before it could turn and flee, Brambleclaw took a single pace forward. We're not going to hurt you, he called, lifting one forepaw to show his claws were sheathed. We just want to talk to you. That's what he said! The little cat looked almost frightened out of its fur. And look what happened! Before Brambleclaw could ask what it meant, the black and white cat spun and fled back around the corner where it came from. Brambleclaw launched himself after it, with the whole patrol hard on his paws. But when they rounded the corner, the thunderpath was empty. Nothing moved under the harsh orange light. Mouse dung! Brambleclaw spoke through gritted teeth. What in the name of Starkland was he talking about? Brickenfur asked, looking mystified. Lion Blaze exchanged a glance with Hollyleaf. You could see that she shared the idea that had instantly flashed into his mind. Soul. I wonder who he is, Brambleclaw mused out loud, his ears twitching as he surveyed the silent thunderpath. Could it be Soul, do you think? I bet a moon of Dawn Patrol it is, Birchfall meowed excitedly. You don't look anything like Soul, Brambleclaw continued, his tone thoughtful. But we're strangers, just as Soul must have been. And what happened? Hazeltail shivered. From the way that cat behaved, it must have been something bad.
No cat replied.
Lineblaze's belly fluttered. His clanmates were looking edgy, their eyes wide with fear, as if they expected to find Soul under the next fallen leaf. Finally, Brambleclaw broke the silence.
It's too late to go on looking now. Let's get some rest and start a proper search in the morning.
He led the way back around the corner and along the thunder path, past the fence where the dogs had tried to attack. Everything was quiet now, though the scent of dog was still strong. Lineblaze slid out his claws, ready to rip them along the vicious creature's pelts. But there was no sound from behind the fence. Eventually, they had crossed on their way into the two-leg pace. Lineblaze and Hollyleaf settled into a makeshift den among the roots of one of the trees. The rest of the patrol found places nearby.
I'm so tired my paws could drop off,
Hollyleaf mumbled, stretching her jaws in a huge yawn.
Mine too.
Lineblaze had been afraid that his worries and the strangeness of their surroundings would keep him awake. But when his aching body curled up among the dead leaves, he felt exhaustion pressing on him like a heavy pelt. As he drifted into sleep, he could still hear the distant roaring of the sun-drowned place. Beach Town! The heck? There's like 10 pages of blankness. We read it. I'm just a chubby cat. Oh, my last cat before Honey was called Chubby. I'm just an LED cat that has muffled rave music coming from deep in my tummy. Music is stored in the cat. True! Really, it's caramel dancing. I imagine if I were a cat in Warriors, I'd be a medicine cat since I have very poor eyesight and other weaknesses and wouldn't be a good warrior. And I'd just do my job while my siblings got mates and all of that, and I would probably just silently have a few crushes ever so often. I think I'd be a great medicine cat since I'm super into plants and whatnot.
I'm a violent cat.
I guess I would probably be, I don't know, I guess I'd be a warrior. Just your average warrior doing an average warrior things. I'd be a warrior apprentice. I don't think I'd be a leader. I don't like leading. I'd be a sweet warrior. Yeah, I'd be like Hazeltail.
The empath in the clan.
Yeah. If you play Clan Gen, there's this like... I don't know how to describe it. It's like a clan generator game. I think you can get it on Ichiko? I'm not sure. Yeah. They have the mediator. The mediator cat? That would be me. Have you played the mod? There's like a mod, and I had started it briefly during my subathon one day, and it was like you... Yeah, the game has mods! The one mod that I was thinking of, though, is when you... It's like your POV is you're a cat in the clan. Like you're a kitten and you're born, and then you go through life as that cat. Oh no! That's alright. Whenever you get a PC, you can play all of them. Speaking of, a Pixel Cat's... What's it called again? A Pixel Cat... Pixel Cat... Pixel Cat's End. They're opening out of... Yeah, it's open for registration until Sunday, June 16th. So if you need a new pet site to be on that's also revolving around cats, check it out. It's really cool because it has like I don't know, I used to be able to describe it. It had like D&D stats, So your cats can have like D&D stats and stuff, and then there's like you can go on like adventures where you collect like, or is it like exploring? It's either exploring or adventures, and you can collect like stuff, but your cats have like roles, like they can be like a fighter or a rogue. Maybe not a rogue. Ninja? No, it's not a ninja. Maybe it is rogue. Or like a tank or a medicine healer or an archer. Stuff like that. It's really cute and really fun. And you can decorate your cats and they look really cute. Pixels plus animals, yeah! Mercats are here? Oh, no way. Oh my god, I want these. Mercat species is now available in-game. Everyone has received one free soup of sea, and additional soups are available at Lulu's gates. Oh! Oh my god, they're mermaids. Nice. Fish cat! Okay. Sorry, I got distracted by this. I haven't played it for a while, so they have lots of updates. It was in beta? I think it's still kind of in beta, but it's in the end of beta event right now. Fish cat or catfish? Fish cat. Aw, the kids! And your cats can have kittens, and the kittens' pixels are the cutest little things. They're like these little balls of cuteness. Anyways, sorry, I was getting distracted. New styles have been added. Yeah, they're really cute. If you're into like Neopet pet care stuff, definitely go check it out. Concept, who is a fairly a regular here. She came, or they came to this stream because I had an advertisement on the bottom of that site. So Concept came because of that advertisement, which is really cute. They're so fun too. If you scroll to the bottom of the site, there's like that all real cats wearing real clothing you can buy. Like, you know, like there's this little ad thing. You can put your own ads there. So that's where mine came from. I had Kari make me a banner advertisement. It was really funny. Anyways, I need to go to the bathroom real quickly, so I'll be right back. Please hang out. Yeah. We'll read another chapter, I think. Yeah, one more chapter. My poor kitty's poor chin is really yucky. Anarchy while No-No's away. And then you spam apples and No-No sus. Can't believe this. Welcome back! You're making a cat, No-No? Add me once you're done. My account is No-No. I don't know what win to make. Well, each of your wins make a different kind of cat. Like, you can get different kinds of fur and different kinds of patterns and colors based on which wind your cat is from. After you're done making your own cat, you get a selection of, I think, maybe 4 or 6 random cats. And you can just like refresh the page and then a bunch of like, it'll give you another 6 random cats. I'm gonna go to the bottom one, but I want to be a black cat.
Ooh.
You should be a black cat. I don't really see very many black cats, I don't believe. I spent a long time trying to make my... Alright. One more chapter, guys. I wonder what cat I would be. Like, in Warrior Cats or in real life. I feel like you're tabby coded, too. I agree. I think I would be, like, a calico cat. I've always felt like I would be calico. Like, one with, like, longer fur, too. Not like a short-haired calico cat, but like a longer-haired calico cat. Or a tortoiseshell, but more calico. What color cat do you think you would be? I think that you would be a black cat now. Or maybe like a tuxedo cat? Like a really scruffy tuxedo cat. No! Juice is an orange cat? Oh, you're right. You're right. Juice is an orange cat. Juice has orange cat vibes. You're right. It's because I'm silly. It's true. Because you're a little goofy and a little anarchy. A scruffy orange cat. That's cute. I like that. All right. One more chapter, guys. One more chapter today. And we're blessed with Jay Feather! Jay Feather woke when a cold breeze rougheted his fur. We need more bedding in here, he grumbled to himself as he scrambled out of his bare nest. It's as drafty as sleeping on top of the ridge in Windclan territory. He lifted his head to sniff the scents of early morning. There was a strong tang of herbs in the air. As Jayfeather bent his head to give his pelt a quick grooming, he located Leafpool in front of the storage cave. She was making up leaf wraps of tansy, and beside her there was a fresh mixture of juniper berries and daisy leaves to ease the pain of Mousefur's aching joints. Should I take those for you? Jayfeather offered, padding up behind his mentor. Leafpool jumped. Don't creep up on me like that. You frightened me out of my fur. She carefully patted the herbs together, then added, No, I can manage. I want you to go over to the nursery and check every cat there, and the bedding, for fleas. I spotted Briarkit scratching yesterday. Jayfeather turned away, resentment seething beneath his skin. Am I a medicine cat or an apprentice? He muttered, loud enough for Leafpool to hear, but the she-cat did not respond. He called a greeting as he pushed through the brambles into the nursery, and then he started to check for fleas. Oh, thank you, Jayfeather, Millie meowed. I'm sure I have a couple in my pelt somewhere. It'll be such a relief to get rid of them. You need a change of bedding, Jayfeather told her, tracking down a flea in Briarkit's neck fur and spearing it with a claw. I'll get Foxpaw and Icepaw to deal with it, unless Leafpool expects me to do that as well. He added grumbly to himself. Right, you're done, he told Briarkit. Blossomkit, He broke off with a startled yelp as claws stabbed into his tail. Wrenching it free, he spun around and picked up the scent of Toadkit. I pretended your tail was a mouse, the little Tom told him proudly. I caught it, too.
Jayfeather bared his teeth. Just keep your claws to yourself.
There's no need for that, Daisy protested. He was only playing.
Jayfeather bit back a sharp retort and went to check Blossomkit and Bumblecit for fleas. Toadkit wriggled away from Daisy and bounced up to him, interest sparking from him as Jayfeather parted Blossomkit's pelt.
Can you eat fleas? He mewed. Do they taste yucky?
Why don't you try one to find out? Jayfeather suggested.
You'll be a flea and I'll eat you.
Oh,
you'll be a flea and I'll eat you,
Blossomkit squeaked, pulling away from Jayfeather and leaping on top of Toadkit. Jayfeather staggered as the two wrestling kits piled onto him. Stop that! He snarled. Blossomkit, do you want your fleas fixed or don't you? The little tortoiseshell kit instantly broke away from the play fight and stood quietly in front of Jayfeather again. Toadkit pushed up close to them. Jayfeather could feel the kit's breath on his ear.
Do you like being a medicine cat? Toadkit asked. I wouldn't want to do it if you only got to look for fleas.
StarClan, give me patience. That's not all medicine cats do, Jayfeather replied through clenched teeth. We have to know about herbs and...
Do you think I'd be a good medicine cat?
Toadkit persisted.
I'd be good at finding herbs. I can send out anything. Can I be a medicine cat? Can I?
You'd be lucky to make a worry if you don't shut up. Jayfeather muttered.
Daisy!
Toadkit let out a wail as he scampered away through the break-in that covered the floor of the nursery.
Daisy, Jayfeather was being mean to me.
Honestly, Jayfeather. Daisy's irritated voice came from the other side of the den. I think you've got ants in your fur this morning. You should go away and come back later when you can be more pleasant. Jayfeather ignored her and went on searching for fleas in gloomy silence. He wanted Hollyleaf and Lionblaze to come back. They belonged together, especially now, when they had no idea where they had been born, who their parents were, or why Squirrelflight had lied to them for so long. That's insane advice for a doctor to give someone. Eating fleas turns into worms. I don't think worms, like cat worms, exist in this universe. Could you imagine pooping out worms? That would be awful for wild cats like this. I think the cats that did eat sick, like, prey died really fast. What happens to Firestar's nephew? Who's Firestar's nephew? Jayfeather? No, Jayfeather isn't his nephew. Oh, you mean Cloudtail. His sister's kid. I forgot what nephew meant. I guess, like, technically, if Squirrelflight was his mother, Jayfeather would be his grandkid? Yeah. If Squirrelflight was his mom, Jayfeather would be his grandkid. His nephew is Cloudtail. Cloudtail's still around. He's probably on a hunting patrol right now. When Jayfeather finally left the nursery, he paused for a few heartbeats, letting out a long sigh as the weak rays of Leafbear's sun soaked into his fur. A paw step behind him and the scent of his clan leader made him turn. Good morning, Jayfeather. Firestar meowed. There was concern in his voice. Are you okay? Any problems? I'm fine. Jayfeather dipped his head awkwardly. He didn't want to tell his leader that all his problems came from his clanmates. After all, Firestar had never lied to him, as far as he knew. He felt a pang of regret that he didn't share his clan leader's blood after all. His respect for the flame-colored Tom had nothing to do with the prophecy, and everything to do with the way Firestar led his clan, even losing a life to Greencough for their sake. Good, Firestar murmured. Jayfeather sensed that the clan leader didn't entirely believe him. You know, you can always tell me if there's anything bothering you. Yes, fine. Jayfeather felt even more uncomfortable. Firestar, you don't want to know the things I could tell you.
To his relief, Firestar padded off towards the fresh kill pile. Left alone at the edge of the hollow, Jayfeather scanned the clearing. He located Mousefur and Longtail sharing tongues outside their den and heard the skinny brown elder complain,
Leaf Bear was never as cold as this in the old forest.
Outside the apprentice den, Foxpaw and Icepaw were trying out a new fighting move. Jayfeather reminded himself to tell them about the nursery bedding. Cloudtail and Brightheart were padding towards the thorn tunnel.
I think we should try for prey near the old two-leg nest, Cloudtail suggested.
Stupid furball! Brightheart's voice was full of affection. We scared off all the prey when the cats were with Greencough stayed there.
There's been time for them to come back.
Their friendly bickering died away as they left the camp. In spite of the feeble warmth of the sun, cold pierced Jayfeather through and through. He hadn't felt so alone. Oh, he had never felt so alone. Rock had told him that the answers lay with his clanmates. But what if I don't have clanmates? Do I have to do this? Jayfeather protested as he emerged from the trees into the mossy clearing where the apprentices trained. It's a waste of time when we have to look for herbs. The herbs won't run away, Leafpool responded tartly. You know as well as I do that every cat gets basic fight training, even medicine cats. Jayfeather bit back another complaint. He hated learning to fight because he knew he would never be any good at it. But there was no point in arguing with Leafpool. She always seemed to be in a bad mood these days. He's stressing heavy, he is. Right. Leafpool began, leading the way into the center of the clearing. Let's start with some defensive moves. I'm gonna attack you, and I want you to dodge to one side and get a blow in as I pass you. Okay, Jayfeather mothered. The sooner we start the... Ow! While he was speaking, Leafpool leaped past him and landed a stinging blow on his ear. I wasn't ready, he yowled. You think a ShadowClan warrior is gonna give you any warning? You have to be alert all the time, Jayfeather. On the last words, Leafpool sprang at him again. This time Jayfeather was more prepared. He jumped to one side and swiped at where he thought his mentor was, but his paw barely grazed her pelt. Better, Leafpool admitted, but not good enough. Let's do it again. Jayfeather managed to land a blow or two, but his paws felt heavy and clumsy, and his senses weren't as sharp as usual. Even though his mentor kept her blows light in her claws sheathed, he began to feel battered and exhausted. Finally, as he leapt aside, he lost his balance on a rough patch of ground and collapsed, paws flailing, without touching Leafpool at all. I'm over here, Jayfeather. Leafpool's voice came from the opposite side of the clearing. Honestly, you've got no more fighting sense than a baby rabbit. I don't think you're trying at all. I am! Jayfeather spat. I don't know what your problem is. His mentor's voice was cold. You expect Lionblaze and Hollyleaf to protect you, so you can't be bothered to learn to defend yourself. That's not true. I think it is. But Lionblaze and Hollyleaf won't always be around. They're not around now. You need to be able to look after yourself. Jayfeather didn't reply. She doesn't understand, he thought mutinously, as he scrambled up and tried to shake off the moss from his pelt. It's not the same for her and Squirrelflight. If they were so close, she knows Squirrelflight lied about us being her kids. Leafpool would never have let her do something like that. I wonder what she'd do if she knew what her sister was really like. Jayfeather limped back to the medicine cat's den through the damp scents of twilight. His legs ached and his head throbbed where he had grazed it colliding with a tree. He was too exhausted to look for any herbs to treat himself. I hope Leafpool's happy, he grumbled as he curled up in his nest. I'll probably be too stiff to do anything tomorrow. He closed his eyes and then opened them a heartbeat later to find himself in a deep, lush forest, with starlight dancing on the leaves. His aches and pains had vanished, and a warm, scent-laden breeze soothed his fur. Leaf Baron, the waking forest, was only a distant memory. A narrow path wound ahead of him, through arching clumps of fern. Jayfeather began to follow it, ears pricking as he glanced around for any familiar cats. He could hear rustling in the undergrowth on either side, and he caught glimpses of furry pelts, as if there were cats all around him, but none of them emerged to greet him. Who's there? He called out. Yellowfang? Bluestar? Can any cat hear me? There was no reply. Becoming more frustrated with every paw step, Jayfeather followed the track until he reached a clearing covered with soft grass. A small pool was at the center, reflecting the stars. There was still no cats in sight. Where are you? Jayfeather wailed, stepping out into the open. Why won't you talk to me? Fronds of bracken dipped and rustled at the opposite side of the clearing, and Spotted Leaf appeared. Jayfeather's rush of relief died when he saw how warily she was regarding him, her tail kinked high over her back. Spotted Leaf? He began uncertainly. We can't give you the answers you're seeking, the tortoiseshell she-cat interrupted. Go back to your clan. That is where the truth lies. But you must tell me more than that, Jayfeather begged. Did Starkland know all along that Squirrelflight and Brambleclaw weren't our parents? Anger flared in Spotted Leaf's green gaze. When will you realize that Starkland doesn't know everything? She snarled, lashing her tail. Sometimes we have questions too. Sometimes we're just cats like you. Without giving Jayfeather a chance to reply, she whipped around and vanished into the ferns. Jayfeather sprang forward to pursue her, only to feel the ground give way beneath his paws. He jolted awake in his own den, opening his eyes into darkness. He stretched his jaws wide, longing to wail like a kid abandoned by its mother. They've all left me, Hollyleaf and Lineblaze, all the rest of my clanmates, and now StarClan as well. Completely alone. Even his belief in the prophecy, which had once seemed to promise so much, had been built on a lie. I may as well be blind in my sleep too. What am I gonna do now? Aw, poor Jayfeather. He's so alone without any of his family. I think he wouldn't feel as alone if he still believed that Squirrelflight was his mom, because then at least he had an ally with him, you know? But he was only ever closest to Hollyleaf and Lineblaze. He didn't reach out to anybody else. I guess there's Cinderpelt, technically. He got kind of close with her, maybe, question mark, but everyone else. And he's always had tensions with Leaf Pool. Poor Jayfeather. I love him. That's my son you're talking about. My son. Oh my god, this book must be massive. I hardly have gone a dent into this novel, and it's been 3 hours since I started reading. I'm so silly. You're so silly. And I can't tell how long this book actually is in compared with every other book I've read, because the pages are so messed up. Evil. I'm gonna Google it. It's Ginger, but Ginger looks brown on here with spots. Aww! Cat, cat, cat. You're both done with your kitties? I'm glad. Add me. Add me as a friend. My username is no. Just no. Also, what the heck is... Was I about to Google? Oh. How many pages is Sunrise Warrior Cat? Guys, I put on fake nails yesterday. They're kind of wild. Okay. How many pages is... What was the last book? Long Shadows. I have to be able to compare them. Long Shadows was longer? What? Why is everything lying to me? No, where do I go to add you? I'm not sure. I think there's on the top bar, there's like a letter, a comment, and then a heart with a cat in it. Press on the heart with a cat in it and then go under user search. Web BB. After user search, does it just send you a request or is it supposed to show your account? It should show my account, I think. And then you press on my profile and then it'll have like, I don't know what it'll have actually. User search. No. That's me at no. Yeah, I'm called, I have the Kitty Carnival. That's my name. Or my thing. You're the cat with the bow tie, right? Yeah, and he's on his back. Doesn't do anything? Oh no. You did it. I'm so proud of you. Aw, thank Nestor. Oh my god, got a new buddy. I got a free cat, guys. Saturn, hi! Thank you for the re-pop-pop. It is still in... There is still, I think, there's a lot of hiccups right now in the... in the site because a lot of people are able to join it right now. But yeah. Oh, I got it! I got it, Juice! Except... we're cat friends. Aw, you look so cute! Juice. Juice. Tracy, Twig, Brick, Midnight, Marvel. Aw, your cats look so cute and fuzzy. I like Midnight a lot. I need to look at my cats. Beautiful. Oh yeah, I named everybody different names except for Ha, because Ha was given to me. Huh? It's Toasted Bread Product Tuesday! I love the advertisements on this site. This is like literally just somebody's cat. Alright guys. Thank you for hanging out with me today on this. The only unrealistic part of my cat is that it's really extroverted. That's alright. It'll help you do certain things. So we ended on chapter 10 today. So next time... Oh, somebody's phoning me. My dentist? Hold on. I'm back. My dentist called. I have a cleaning checkup soon. You bought a knife for your pop cub? Welcome back, except it's the end, so I was gonna say bye anyways. Let's see who's streaming today. Twitch. I tried every time I write Twitch, I try and write Twitter at the same time, so it's like Twitcher. Oh. Quasso. Thank you for the quasso. I appreciate the quasso. Let's see who is. What is the cat website you were just doing? This one! Thank you for the hearts! You have given me a new thing to focus on. Go play the exploring. When you do exploring, it's really... Is it exploring? Gather resources. No, not gather resources. Meeting grounds, launch a ton. What is it? Explore! Adventure! So if you go under the Explore tab and the Adventure, then you can go on adventures and it's really addictive. You have like a little party. I have a ranger, a fighter, a ranger, and a medic. And then they have different stats. Your cats have different stats that make them good or bad in certain things. And you can give them special like traits or quote unquote spells that make them good at like swimming or fishing or like charming other cats. Stuff like that. It's really fun. Alright, who shall we? Right. I added a bunch of people that were supposed to be... Oh, V-Moy Momo! So, V-Moe Momo is graduating, which is kind of sad because she's like the mascot for V-Moe, and then she's graduating, which is sad. Because I applied for that. I applied for this company, and they didn't accept me. And now their mascot is graduating before they accepted me. Have high agility on their hunting and fishing. This is cool. Yeah, see? You have like, they have different gatherings that you can get, and you can get items, and then you can like use those items to make more gathering things. Like, I think there's a logging station or something, and then you can make logs, and then you can do buildings, and then you can build, like, you have a whole house area that you can build like buildings and stuff for. Anyways, it is really cool, and they're cute cats. Oops. We'll raid Fimoemo though, considering I guess maybe this is their last stream anyways. I wish them good luck. They might be debuting into another character or something like that. I'm not sure. I don't know. But good luck for them. Good luck to Momo. I know Momo is, I think, safe though. Great. Yay! Okay. Wish Momo a happy graduation and good luck on future endeavors. Bye. Have fun with the cats. Tell me how they go. I'll check in with you tomorrow, maybe. Probably.